Street where the loyal drums do beat, and the lovely English people walked all over us. And every single night when they tell come home tight, he'd invite the neighbours out with his chorus. Come out, you black and tans, come out and fight me like a man. Show your wife how you won medals down in Flanders. Tell her how the IRA made you run like hell away from the green and lovely lace of Gillishandra. Tell us how you slew them old Arabs 2 by 2, like the Zulus they had knives and bows and arrows. Of how bravely you faced one with your 16-pounder gun, and you frightened all the natives to the marrow. Come out, you black and tans, come out and fight me like a man. Show your wife how you won medals down in Flanders. Tell her how the IRA made you run like hell away from the green and lovely lakes of Gillishandra. Let us hear you tell how you stand the brave Parnell and taught them well and truly persecuted. Where are the stares and jeers that you proudly let us hear when our heroes of 16 were executed? Come out, you black and tans, come out and fight me like a man. Show your wife how you won medals down in Flanders. Tell her how the IRA made you run like hell away from the green and lovely lakes of Gillishandra. Come out and fight without your guns. Show your wife how you won medals up in Derry. You murdered 16 men and you'll do the same again. So get out of here and take your bloody army. Come out, you black and tans, come out and fight me like a man. Show your wife how you won medals down in Flanders. Tell her how the IRA made you run like hell away from the green and lovely lakes of Gillishandra. Oh, come out, you black and tans, come out and fight me like a man. Show your wife how you won medals down in Flanders. Tell her how the IRA made you run like hell away from the green and lovely lakes of Gillishandra.
Buckingham Palace announced the death of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II.
Chat. Oh, chat. How do I even begin to explain this to you? It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me. And I'm very excited to be back. Very excited to be back for a few reasons. One, because I love streaming. And here we are. I'm back streaming. And I've not got any of my stuff enabled. Where's me fucking... Oh, where's me widgets? Chat, where's me widget? There it is. Okay, cool. Right, it's fine. Did someone already donate? Did someone already donate? No, that can't be right. No, okay, no, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. It's fine. I was just looking at... No, okay, my eyes are fucked. It's 183. How are we doing, chat? It's good to see you. Okay, yeah. So, why am I excited to bring you a stream? Well, it's because, number one, I love streaming. Of course, I love streaming. And number two, you might notice a little difference in me today. Because I am finally feeling fucking better. That's right, chat. You might notice that something's missing. Had to get rid of it, right? Had to get rid of it. The piercing, yeah? It's a bit gross on the other side. If you've been in the Discord this weekend, you'll know that I decided to try something because I just had like a bit of an inkling. It wasn't even like medical advice or anything. I was just Googling a lot and trying to figure out what exactly is wrong with me. If you know anything about the last like 9 months of me, you'll know actually that I've had some real bad fatigue going on that's really like fucked me up. And at the worst of it, I just think that I thought that I had like long COVID, and it was really like concerning. And I think that maybe there might have been an element of that, but it appears that what was hindering my recovery the most was my piercing, my helix piercing, because I took it out on Saturday night. I just decided to give it a go. I thought, fuck it, like, I've been reading up on the internet, I've been reading up and thinking, you know, is there something to do with maybe having a piercing that's not healed, that can stop you from recovering from an illness or whatever, and there seemed to be like a bit of an idea that might be the case because it's the immune response. It's all, you know, together, isn't it? It's all kind of like linked together. And when I tell you, chat, that I took this piercing out, and within like 40 minutes, I started feeling better. I just started feeling better, and it's just so bizarre. It's such a genuinely bizarre situation. I keep waiting for the fatigue to just like come back. Do you know what I mean? I was talking to my dad on the phone before about it, and I was saying it's like I was at the point in the day where I would normally have like a headache, and what is there instead of a headache now is this weird sort of like dull nothingness feeling. And it's like, I don't really feel anything there. I don't feel like a pressure. I don't feel anything. And it's like, it's kind of like a ghost headache. It's like a headache that was there and it's not there anymore, but you're so used to it that it just feels like it should be there, but it isn't. Do you know what I mean? So just absolutely wild. But genuinely, I've gotten so much done yesterday and today. After doing this, I feel like I've been living my life for the past 9 months in fucking Goku's gravity gym. So, yeah, I got so much fucking done. But anyway, let's welcome the chatters. Let's welcome the chatters, because you're all here. I'm happy to see you. Let's fucking go. The wonderful chatters, they're all in the chat. In the chat, aren't you? I've got new soundboard and everything. I've got new sounds. Fucking, it's all popping off. Steph, how you doing? It's good to see you. Just Johnny, welcome in. We also got the wonderful B-Rat. We got the amazing Goblin Hugger. We got the incredible Beanie Gaby. We got the fantastic Husker Du. We got the inimitable Woodborg. We got the infallible Odnon. We got the I'm running out of compliments. I think I hit like 7, and that's it. I'm fucked now. The good one who reads. The fun Connor Crowley. Yeah, I think that's everyone. Woodborg. I said hi to Woodborg. Everybody. It was a good risk. It was a good risk. A good risk. It was a good streak. I read B-Rat's chat message. Didn't know that was a risk with piercings. Well, look, I don't know, B-Rat. I don't know if it's a risk. I don't know if this is a new thing to do with like COVID, because what I did see on the internet in researching about this, like, you know, is my piercing making me recover less quickly? Like, is it affecting my recovery with long COVID or something like that? And there was a few people who seemed to have a situation where they had a piercing that wasn't quite healed, but when they got COVID, it started to get really worse, like infected even worse, because it is connected, your immune response, you know, to having a piercing and healing a piercing. So unfortunately, about 70 quid down the drain. But I think to feel like this, I'd probably pay another 70 quids. Like, you can't put a price on, like, actually feeling better again. But I got so much stuff done. Anyway, listen, I got some shout outs to give because there's some amazing streamers in here. Please go show some love to Odnon. Please go show some love to Goblin Hugger. Both incredible streamers. It's good to see you all playing some Golden Sun and playing some No More Heroes 3. Very, very cool. Very, very based. Very, very good. Look, there's even stuff in the chat. There's even stuff in the chat that you'll be able to see. Look, I got the command list sorted, finally. Finally. Fucking finally. Now, whenever you need to know what the commands are, you can do that. And I've updated all of them as well. So we've got Dono Goal. Oh shit, no, that's the wrong command. If you type in Dono Goal, it'll be there. Like, March 2024's Dono goals are 50% £300 double feature movie night, 100% £600 DJ stream. Yeah? And then, like, what else do we got? What was the other one? There was another good command that I made. Oh, Gobs, that's really interesting. That's really interesting. You stopped wearing earrings 5 years ago because the feeling of having them was adding to your autistic burnout. No way, that's wild. That's wild. It makes sense, though, right? It makes sense. I've genuinely got more color in my face. Really? You think so? That's wild. That's wild if that's the case. That's genuinely wild if that's the case. I was looking for something in the chat. The command list. Oh yeah. Dono menu. The Dono menu is a work in progress. That's a work in progress for the time being. Sub off Twitch, pronouns, Red Planet, Go Live Tree, acronyms, Activism from Home, Dono menu, game dev, hype, movie night as well. Yeah, did I change the movie night one? I can't remember if I decided on a film for movie night. Oh no, I didn't change that. Okay, right. Okay, This was for September. I gotta change it. Hey PBG, what's going on? Never had earrings, but have experience with fatigue. Mine was caused by anemia. Well, I was also checking out the anemia possibility as well, Phoebe. But genuinely, yeah, just taking this earring out made my life better. So weird. But again, it's not to do with like just having an earring. It's because I got sick and I was unable to recover fully from that sickness because my earring was, you know, basically it was distracting my immune system. I think that's what happened. I think that's what's been happening. PBP, how are you doing? Welcome in. Good to see you. Piercings in the body can be so interesting. It blew my mind when I found out that pregnancy could sometimes cause your fully healed ones to reject. No fucking way. That's wild. That's so wild. Yeah, the body is a real interesting thing. Right, what else was I saying? What else was I doing? The tattoos carry any similar risk. It's Infidel!
Out and about watching on my phone.
Thank you so much for the 26 months. He's out and about. He's touching grass, chat. Let's fucking go. Well done. Well done for being out there touching grass. I was at the branch meeting for the union. Well, my branch meeting for the union yesterday, and we were talking about potentially starting a GMTU hiking club because everybody at the union meeting is like excited to get out and do some like activities, you know, extracurricular activities outside of the union that isn't activism and isn't housing stuff. And one of our members was telling us about she used to go hiking on a particular route, and there was a guy that used to stay outside in his garden and wait for people to come on the hiking route through the bottom of his garden, and he would just shout at them. And I was thinking like, damn, that guy's just like, he's touching too much grass. right? He's touching too much grass. Like, what would be the opposite of touch grass? Log on? Hey, log on, you fucker. You know? There you go. Oh, I got a rim shot now as well, courtesy of Queen Pib. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Queen Pib. She sent me that ages ago, and I've just not sorted it out at all. Does eating leafy greens count as touching grass? Yes, I'll give you that. I'll give you that. Thanks for reminding me I owe someone money for a jiu-jitsu social. Well, sorry, but also not sorry about that, because, yeah, if you owe someone money, you should try and pay it back, if you can. I've seen some people who had tattoos be extra itchy for a while after getting COVID. I know my shoulder one acted up when I got my first vaccine in the arm it's on. That's so wild. Maybe just anything like that. Jesus, wild. Jesus, wild. I just came up with a new what would that be called? Expletive? Shock expletive? Jesus, wild. I've been back and forth with the credit union trying to replace my bank card after my wallet vanished and I cancelled all my cards in a panic. Oh shit, sorry to hear it, one who reads. Yeah. I hope you get that fucking sorted. I'm about to start thinning cabbage and lettuce seedlings and we'll eat the rejects if that counts. So, oh cool, so like the little sprouts, very fucking nice. It's an interjection. I knew I could count on you, one who reads, for that correction. Okay, yeah, so what was I up to? Yeah, no, I've got so much stuff done, honestly, chat. I had like a backlog of VODs from ages ago, and I've only got like 2 left to upload. So, I've actually got, if you're interested in this at all, and I watched this the other day to make sure that I didn't say anything like too insane, and I don't know why I thought that would be the case. I watched the whole stream and it was like, yeah, my politics are like basically the same. I've just got a bit more radical, and I was a bit confused back then as to what the word liberal meant in certain regards. But I watched my first ever political stream. My first ever political stream, chat. When I was a baby political streamer. First one ever. It's like an hour and a half long or some shit. And I think it's so weird because I clearly didn't like record the stream on OBS because the segment is only like an hour. Yeah, the segment is only like an hour long, or like an hour and 45 minutes or something like that. I can't remember, but I was talking about in the stream how I was gonna like play some games afterwards, and so I think what's actually happened is I've cut a bit out of the VOD and saved that in particular. So I knew, I was like, I'm gonna want this one day. I'm going to want this one day. So if you're interested in seeing my first ever political stream, and it's got everything, it's got like an argument with a chud, like a chud comes in and starts to say like, leftists are really intolerant and they're just, they say that they're tolerant, but they're not. And I have this like back and forth with him. It's wild. And this is like, I can't remember, 2019? Maybe the start of 2019 or something? So yeah, very, very interesting stream there. So if you're interested in seeing that, that's going to be up on my Patreon probably tonight or tomorrow. And on my Patreon as well, I've got a couple of other exclusive streams. I've got the director's commentary kind of thing that I did after we watched my latest video, the AI one. And I've also got on there today my convos with comrades with Foreign Man in a Foreign Land. So if you've been wanting to watch that one, go and check that out. It's available for £5 patrons and above on my Patreon. And you can get that on my socials, which is now in a convenient link tree command. Look at that. Oh my God, I've done so much. The convo one was good. Did you watch it, Steph? Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. And what else have I done? I edited a bunch of TikToks. I literally edited a bunch of TikToks as well today, like from all the backtrack saving recordings. So I don't know if anyone knows, but like I got a Linktree, Gobs. I got Linktree. It's right there now. You could just find it all in a nice, convenient Linktree. Instead of having to look through all those fucking confusing links from the old socials command. What was I up to? What was I saying? Yeah, so when I'm streaming on OBS, basically what I have is I have two OBS windows. So I've got like a vertical window that records me, and I've got the main stream, yeah? And hopefully I'll be able to use the vertical one to dual stream on like TikTok and stuff at some stage. But we'll see. But anyway, what I could do with that, with the vertical recording one, is I could click a button and it saves the last 10 minutes of the stream in its own video file. So that means then that I can very easily edit a little TikTok or a little reel or a short. And I had like a bunch of them backlogged from the last month. And so I just edited a bunch of them and I've got all that done. And I'm like, fucking, honestly, I'm not joking. Like when I said before, it feels like I've been training, living for the last 9 months in Goku's gravity chamber, and I've come out a fucking hench baby, like an absolutely massive baby. There you go. You can have that one for free. Put your wallet away. Would you post TikTok compilations? I don't know what that means. You'll have to explain to me what that means. TikTok compilations. So, a compilation of my TikToks or a compilation of other people's TikToks, or I don't know. I don't know how that would how it would shake out. Well, listen, chat, that's been my weekend, my week. Very exciting, very good. There's nothing else to tell you about the weekend. Did anyone else get anything interesting at the weekend? Anything cool? Anything weird? Would that be a fast-paced highlight reel of the stream? I mean, that would be really difficult to edit, so probably not that. Sat down this morning, did a couple of hours of work on an art commission, try not to lose steam. You lost your job. I know, I remember hearing about that. PBP. Let's get some love in the chat for PBP. You're going to be all right. You're going to get through it, I promise. I promise. The Anarchist History book I ordered is finally being released to me by Customs. It only took 2 weeks. Let's fucking go! Great. Huskadoo says, my hand is healing significantly after a cat scratch infection. I can almost make a fist again. Yeah, let's go! Fucking brilliant. Let's go. Johnny says, I worked and I also interviewed. Let's go! Everyone's doing shit. Listen, 2024 is our year, chat. I'm being real. I'm being so real right now. 2024 is going to be the year of everyone in my chat, everyone in my community, and me in particular. I'm manifesting it. It's coming up. I genuinely, chat, I can't tell you how good I feel right now. Seriously. I feel like I could stream for 9 hours and it would be fine, but I'm not going to do that because I've just come out of this like awful really long illness, and I don't want to fuck it up, you know what I mean? So I'm gonna be doing a standard stream at the moment, yeah, standard stream, and we'll see how it goes. Maybe I'll do some longer streams next week. Bordrella, how you doing? Welcome in. Oh, a compilation of all my TikToks. What, like to put on TikTok? Yeah, that could be cool, Phoebe. Yeah. Yeah, why the fuck not? That'd be interesting. So like, is that a thing that people do? They just like get all of their TikToks together and put them in one big TikTok compilation? Or do you mean like to put that on like a clip channel on YouTube or something? Because I have been thinking about a clip channel as well on YouTube. Whenever I've mentioned this to other content creators, they've gone, no, don't do that. But why not? You know, why the fuck not? Yeah, I'd be down for that, Phoebe. Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, why not? Fuck it. I feel like I could have 3 extra channels, three alternate channels right now. I feel like I could have a gaming channel. I feel like I could have a blog channel. Blog channel, sorry. Oh god. I only see TikToks via YouTube compilations. Right, okay, gotcha. Yeah, definitely wouldn't be on my main channel. Yeah. Gardening channel. Oh, be right. That would be the dream. That would be the dream, to just do more gardening content. Mule makeup channel when? That might be a bit ambitious. But I was talking about dressing as a clown in the branch meeting yesterday, because wouldn't it be really funny if we did some, like, you know, some viewings with a letting agent and dress up as a clown? Just do lots of really silly stuff. Wouldn't that be dead funny? I would relish that, actually. Could you imagine me turning up to, like, a viewing of a flat somewhere and just in full clown makeup, falling over, tumbling everywhere? Oh, that would be the dream. It would be the dream, genuinely. I would love that so much. That's probably the closest I'll get to makeup. Although I do pretty good makeup when I do the gnome streams. When I dress up as a gnome, innit? So, I don't know who sees it. Who sees it? Who knows is what I meant to say. It's like my brain is starting to reconfigure itself back into what it used to be. And it's like, yeah, you used to be able to talk for hours on end, bro. Just hours and hours and hours and hours and hours on end. And it's like, my words are like falling over each other. Hey, Anony Mouse, how's it going? That would be so based. It would be so based. It would be so fucking based. Yeah, gotta do some shit like that. We had a pretty good victory with the tenants union today, chat. Pretty good victory. We were supposed to do a phone blockade of a letting agent all day. And our members were literally doing it for about, I don't know, an hour. And the letting agent were like, right, we'll have a meeting with you. When do you want to meet us? Fucking brilliant. So that was really, really good. Yeah, that's been a nice little victory. So we're meeting with the letting agent on Wednesday to do some negotiations. Can't wait. I love speaking to letting agents. It's really fun. It's really fun and good. I don't get really wound up when I'm sat there in front of them and they're just saying all this horrible stuff like, oh, money talks, you know, bro. Acting like a fucking cartoon character. Yeah, getting a wooga horn for the clown stuff. That would be good. I haven't done a dramatic eyeshadow for metal or punk shows in ages. You know what? I used to do eyeshadow. I used to do eyeliner and eyeshadow back in the day. That's true. Yeah. Fingernails. Not done my fingernails in a long time because I've not felt... Not gonna lie, chat. Not gonna lie. I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna be so real and serious for a hot minute, yeah. If... And it really feels like I am better now. Yeah. If this is what it is, touch wood, you know, touch fucking wood, and I am finally better now, like, it means the fucking world to me, because it means I'm going to be able to go back to the gym, and I'm going to start to feel, like, actually fucking hot again, because I haven't felt sexy at all in the last 9 months, honestly, since feeling like this. I just haven't, and if I'm able to get to the stage where I was at, again, previously, with, like, bodybuilding, holy fucking shit, I'm gonna feel so fucking good. Yeah, so I guess all I wanted to say really is, like, if this is it and I'm like better now, thanks for bearing with me. I know that, like, you know, being fatigued and tired means that it's quite difficult to make content. So thanks for bearing with me. I know that, like, I think most people probably couldn't tell, but I could definitely tell that I wasn't like up to standard of what I usually was. But yeah, there you go. So yeah, I guess I just wanted to say thanks so much everyone for bearing with me. But yeah, I'm absolutely convinced that this year shit's gonna pop off for a lot of people who need it, and I'm one of them. Yeah, I'm one of them. I know it sounds boasty, but I'm manifesting. That's what's going on. We've had a rough few months. I think we're all just glad to see you feeling better. Hell yeah! Let's fucking go, Gobs. I'm so fucking... I'm ready to stream 2 streams. I could stream 2 streams at once. I am doing that technically now with YouTube and Twitch, but I could do 2, I could do 3, I could do 4 streams at once if I really wanted to. Anyway, right, listen, I've got a stream for you planned. Imagine that. I've got a stream for you planned. Here it is. What are we doing? Well, we're going through all the stuff that we normally do. We go through on Twitter. So that's the first thing that we're going to be doing. We're going to be checking out Twitter, having a little look at what we've got. Got a whole bunch of stuff to be looking at on Twitter, really. I'm just going to make sure that my messages aren't... Oh, shit. Just going to make sure that my messages aren't showing up on Twitter over here. Yep. Okay, that looks good. Don't forget as well, chat, retweet the Go Live tweet, the Go Live skeet. That would be really, really cool and helpful for me. It means that, you know, more eyes get on the stream and whatnot. I'm just going to copy and paste that and stick that over to YouTube as well. So the YouTube chat can go ahead and help with that as well. Let's crack on. Let's get into the politics, yeah? Let's get into the fucking politics zone. Get those hazmats on, chat. Hodnot says if they approve this surgery, I'm losing roughly 30%-ish of my body, but I'll be able to do a lot more. I'm so excited that the lengthy recovery doesn't even bother me. So that'll be my year in the best way. Fucking hell yeah, Hodnot. Let's fucking go. Let's fucking go. See, this is it, chat. It's gonna be our fucking year, yeah? It's gonna be our fucking year. I'm manifesting it for everybody. Okay. We got a bunch of stuff to get through. Yeah, we got loads of stuff to get through. So we're going to be having a look at some Twitter stuff to begin with. So what do we got here? So breaking: the entire emergency medical team, including the department head, was abducted by the Israeli army from Al-Shifa Hospital in Gaza City. So yeah, they're just going hard against Al-Shifa. Straight away. This is bullshit. This fucking sucks, honestly. We're going to be covering a bit more about what's going on in Palestine later on in the show. We got a bunch of Twitter stuff to go through. So this was happening over the weekend. This was yesterday, I believe. Wait, oh no, this is today, actually. This was today. So this is like pretty much hot off the press news. We got David Marcus over here. I don't know who this is, but like another blue check wanker on Twitter. If Israel falls, then America falls. It's that simple. Yeah, we know. That's what we want. Don't threaten us with a good time. What do you think we don't want that? You think we don't know that? You promise? These replies are great. You don't need to convince us. Oh god, extremely funny. Yeah, promise? Do you promise? Do you promise, please? Pretty please? Yeah, thank you very much, Blue Box Dave, whoever the fuck you are. Interesting day today as well. A first legend has died, Rose Dugdale. So this is Rose Dugdale. We're gonna oh hey Ellie Simone, how you doing? Good to see you. So we're going to be taking a little look at this in movie night this week, yeah? Oh, wait, no, it's not out yet. No, it's not out yet. Okay, no, we're not going to be watching. I thought we could watch this for movie night this month, but maybe we'll have to wait a couple of months before it gets a digital release. But there's a documentary about Rose Dugdale. Basically, she was an English heiress who joined the IRA and became one of Britain and Ireland's most wanted terrorists. So very, very interesting person, but yeah, she died today. So rest in peace to Rose. Really, really interesting person. Class traitor. Yeah, so it'd be good to get an opportunity to learn a bit more about her in the future. Next up, we got something from the Kurdistan Democratic Communities Union. So if you all know about Kurdistan, sort of like indigenous area, autonomous region. There's a lot of Kurds who have been violently, systematically oppressed by various states all in the region, like Iran, Turkey, Syria, and you know, Kurds just kind of want their own fucking state and their own autonomy. And so the Kurdistan Democratic Communities Union have released a statement this week, the spirit of Newroz. So, Newroz, I'm not entirely sure what it is, so we're going to learn what that is together, chat, right now. Are you ready? Are you ready to do some learning? Newroz celebration. So, Newroz is celebrated by Kurds. Kurdish celebration of Newroz is the arrival of spring and New Year in Kurdish culture. The lighting of fires at the beginning of the evening of March 20th is the main symbol of Newroz among the Kurds. And it's basically kind of like the equinox, right? But this is really cool. So they like light a bunch of torches and stuff. That's pretty based. Have a big bonfire. Pretty fucking cool, chat. Here you go. So every day's a school day. So basically, this is the Kurdish communities, Kurdistan Democratic Communities Union statement about Newroz. So let's have a little read of this. This is always good stuff to read. And I was a bit inspired by my first ever political stream when I watched that the other day back, because I basically do a lot of this, a lot of like reading stuff. In that stream, it's just like I get like a bunch of Reddit posts and just go through them all, and it's like, this is how you do a political stream, right? Hey Crystal, how's it going? Welcome in, good to see you. So March 18th, 2024, with the spirit of Newroz, freedom will prevail. The annual Newroz celebration represents the yearning for independence, freedom, and victory against enslavement by the Dehaks. We celebrate the Newroz of ancient Mesopotamian peoples, the peoples of the Middle East, and the rest of the world, of women, youth, laborers, and all the oppressed, as we believe that freedom will be achieved through resistance. We salute all those who feel the warmth of the fire of Newroz in their hearts. We also celebrate Newroz of our internationalists, friends who have joined the Kurdish revolution, fought for freedom across the world, and contributed significantly to the internationalization of the democratic modernity revolution. Our commitment to common universal values are strengthened by the solidarity of our international friends with Reba Apo. I don't know what that means. Let me have a look. Political prisoner, founding member of the Kurdistan Workers' Party. Right, okay, gotcha. Gotcha. In ancient Mesopotamian history, blacksmith Kawa initiated the first resistance against the evil, oppressive Dehak by lighting the fire of Newroz. Ever since, Newroz has become the hope of better days to come, of the tradition of popular struggle against oppression, enslavement, and exploitation. This meaningful tradition lives on through the resistance of the Kurdish people with the leadership of the PKK. The first step of the Kurdish freedom struggle, which has now evolved into the universal struggle for the freedom of humanity, was taken by Reba Apo at the Kubuk Dam in Ankara during a meeting on the Newroz of 1973. The fire of Newroz was later relit by Mazlum Dogan, the brave child of the Kurdish people, in the prison of Ahmed in 1982. Protesting the brutal torture and inhumane practices of the Turkish state against the Kurdish people, Mazlum Dogan set his body ablaze on the eve of Newroz. This spark became a beam of hope in the bleakness of the dungeons, reviving the Newroz tradition in its true meaning. Despite the harshest circumstances, political prisoners unwaveringly continued the resistance initiated by Mazlum Dogan, denouncing and ultimately doing away with submission and betrayal within Turkish prisons. The fire of Newroz reached Zekir, Rasan, Ronahi, and Berivan and was carried to peaks of the mountains in Kurdistan by the guerrilla, who spread this tradition of resistance across plains, villages, and cities. With each passing Newroz, the people of Kurdistan gained strength against the invading, brutal, and colonialist enemy. It became an enlightenment for humanity and shaped the global freedom movement. Reba Apo is beyond doubt the driving force behind these important historical achievements, initiating a new historical phase in Kurdistan by launching the freedom struggle. He became the target of wicked Dehaks of our day. He was imprisoned through international conspiracy and placed in the Imrali system of aggravated isolation and torture. Reba Apo continues to resist against this system of torture and solitary confinement, which has been continuing for more than 25 years. Holy fucking shit. Little sip there. Stay hydrated, chat. You know what? Fuck it, I'm having some water as well. Spearheaded by our international friends, global campaign named Freedom for Abdullah Öcalan, a political solution to the Kurdish question, was launched on October 10th, 2023. Significant work has already been done thus far, though, and we must intensify and expand our efforts to be able to achieve our goal. The peak of this ought to be the Newroz celebrations. Exhibiting their spirit of resistance and independence, our people must take this occasion to march everywhere, demanding the physical freedom of Reba Apo. With millions of people participating, the 2024 Newroz should be an effective occasion with this objective. We, as the Kurdish people, as the Kurdish freedom movement, can no longer tolerate this repressive, fascist, denialist, racist, lying, and anti-Kurdish AKP-MHP regime's isolation and torture tactics, occupation, and genocidal attacks. It is completely unacceptable that Reba Apo is being kept in complete isolation. The fascist AKP MHP regime continues to expand its occupation and conduct acts of genocide against the Kurdish people. Their assaults against Kurdistan, particularly on Rojava, fall under the category of war crimes. It is currently in new preparations to carry out another genocide against the Kurds. In order to make 2024 the year of victory, we need to strengthen our opposition against Tayyip Erdogan, the brutal dehak of our time and his reign of terror. The oppressive rule of the dehaks is doomed to be destroyed by the people's resistance, and freedom will prevail. Hell yeah! All power and solidarity to the Kurds in their struggle for independence. That was a really inspirational read. I really enjoyed reading that, chat. I'm glad that we did it. And those cries for resistance can be, those sentiments are completely similar to the sentiments that we should be expressing for people in Gaza right now. This is more about what's going on at Al-Shifa today. They're attacking a hospital again. That should be it for the whole world. The horrors that we are witnessing, and which are the logical conclusion of Zionism, should make it clear to everyone why the only way to sanctify life, all life, is to abandon Zionism. There just cannot be any continuation of the Israeli state. It just can't continue to go on. Zionism does not keep any of us safe. The apparent safety for some Jews is an illusion, and this illusion exists at the grievous expense of Palestinian lives and well-being. Stop the genocide. Couldn't have said it better myself. We got some John McDonnell stuff going on. So John McDonnell here tweeting solidarity to deaf and disabled campaigners and trade unionists attending public evidence session in Geneva today. UK government will be examined by the UN Committee on Rights of Disabled People for grave and systematic violations of disabled people's rights. This is super, super, super important. So this is, I think, championed by Disabled People Against Cuts. The John McDonnell has linked in there. And I wonder if there's anything about this Geneva stuff here today. Oh, here we go. Tories just shamed themselves in front of the UN, accused them of causing disabled people's deaths. So this was literally today. Zoom in so we can see it properly. Okay. Tory government was hauled in front of the UN on Monday, 18th of March. It was for it to give evidence about how it maintains human rights for chronically ill and disabled people in the UK. Of course, the evidence it gave showed none of this. In response, the so-called UN CRPD accused the UK government of numerous violations, at worst, causing the deaths of disabled people via the benefits system. And this is something that's happened a lot. In fact, we should actually put that in the March movie night. I think we should actually start watching some Ken Loach films, chat. I think you all need to get, like, depressed and British with me in movie nights. So I'm going to add that to movie night. That's one movie night. So, movie night has not been unlocked for March. Yeah. And when it's unlocked, we will be watching Daniel Blake, which is about a guy who went through the benefit system and had like a terrible, terrible time. And it's a film. I think it's either by Mike Leigh or Ken Loach. It's one of the two sort of based British socialist directors. BBG says, what do you think about this push for choosing to die that seems to be going on now? I don't have, like, the correct take. Like, I don't think on this. I don't, like, know enough about it. From what I've seen, people are saying that if there is only a right to die for disabled people, then it's eugenicist. Everybody should have the right to choose to die. And I'm backing that. If that's what most disabled people think, then yeah, based, cool, nice, great, good. That's all I got to say on that, really. I'm not the right person to speak on that. So, what do we got else here? So, yeah, we should watch that. In fact, let me just find out who actually directed it, because it won't be hard. So, it's a film from 2016. I always wanted to watch it. 2016. Ah, come on now. Ken Loach, that's it. I knew it was fucking one of them. Ken Loach. Right, there we go. So, movie night has not been unlocked for March, and when it's unlocked, we will be watching I, Daniel Blake. And something else. I haven't decided yet. All right, cool. There we go. All right, next up. Well, not next up. Let's continue with this story. Overall, the UK government's representatives did little more than to display contempt for chronically ill and disabled people lying, gaslighting, and misrepresenting their way through the 90-minute hearing. As the Canary has documented, the UNCRPD is a human rights branch of the UN. It oversees the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. The UK has signed up to this convention. However, in 2016, the UNCRPD assessed how the country was sticking to the rules. It found that successive UK governments had committed grave and systemic violations of disabled people's human rights. Risk Inverse.
It's mule time.
Thank you so much for the 24 months. 24 months out there. Holy shit. 2 years. Thank you so much for the 2 years of subs, Risk Inverse. How are you doing, my friend? Good to see you. Excuse me. Every so often, the UNCRPD monitors countries to see if they're acting in line with the CRPD's articles or not. The last time the committee looked at the UK was in 2016, and the report was damning. Then, in August 2017, the UNCRPD followed up on its report. It included its chair accusing the government of creating a human catastrophe for disabled people. Yet, in 2018, the government effectively whitewashed the UNCRPD report. Yeah, fuck the Tories, man. Holy shit. Now the committee is investigating the UK again. As part of this process, disabled people's organisations, DPOs, have come together to collate evidence. What they found is damning. You can read the Canary's full analysis of the report here, but as one of its conclusions summed up, there has been continued regression since the last public examination of the UK under the CRDP. With that in mind, the UNCRPD summoned the Tory government to Geneva, originally 28th of August 2023. However, ministers backed out of the meeting. Then, today, the Tories finally gave their evidence to the committee. Predictably, it was awash with lies and deceit. So, Deputy Director of the Cabinet Office's Disability Unit, Alexandra Goland, was given evidence along with civil servants from the Department for Work and Pensions. Anyone who's had any dealings with the Department for Work and Pensions will know how horrific it is to actually deal with them in any capacity. The Department of Health and Social Care, the Scottish Government, the Welsh Government, and the Northern Ireland Government. Of course, it would have been too much to ask for the organ grinders in government to be sent, like DWP Secretary of State Mel Stride, so instead the Tories sent their monkeys out to make excuses for their human rights violations. Overall, Golan claimed that the evidence she gave demonstrated the government's ongoing commitment to support disabled people and implement the CRPD. However, even the evidence they gave exposed this as not being true. She spoke of the new disability strategy, one that DPOs had no input into whatsoever. It was criticised by MPs, at first declared unlawful by the High Court, and overall slammed by DPOs. Goland also mentioned the 12-month Disability Action Plan, again, which was heavily criticised by DPOs, as John Pring at Disability News Service reported, dismissed the government's new Disability Action Plan as a series of empty promises that failed to address the dire situation disabled people are facing. Yet Goland had the gall to thank disabled people, DPOs, and charities for their input into this sham. Meanwhile, she went on to talk about a key priority of the government being to reduce the disability employment gap. Golan claimed the government had met its goals. However, in reality, the actual figure as a percentage has remained static. It's just such a fucking joke, man. Such a fucking joke. I got a review of my work capability coming up and I hate it. Yeah, solidarity. Solidarity, Beanie Gaby. It's just such a fucking nightmare for people to have to go through. just having their entire lives examined and spoken down to, and nonsense. The government has manipulated the figures because the only reason the number of disabled people in employment is increased because the number of disabled people has increased, partly due to the coronavirus pandemic. I know people have got criticisms of the Canary, and that's completely fine, but this is actually pretty good reporting. Pretty decent reporting, you know? On benefits, Golan claimed that the government is committed to transforming the benefits system by focusing on what disabled people can do, not what they can't, stepping up employment support, ensuring disabled people can access the right support from the DUWP at the right time. All of this is just what, like, the ruling elite, the ruling class want to hear from the Tories, right? Because they don't want to be hearing, oh yeah, we're going to be giving disabled people more money, we're going to be supporting them correctly, we're going to be giving them a lot more care, we're going to be looking after them, spending public money on them, because they don't want to hear that. They want to hear, actually, we don't care about disabled people and we should let them all die. And that's effectively what these things are saying, right? Like, focusing on what disabled people can do, not what they can't. That doesn't mean the sort of recuperated progressive language about disability. That means, can we force more disabled people who can't work into work? Right? That's what that means. Stepping up employment support, same part of the same thing. Ensuring disabled people can access the right support from the DWP at the right time. That just sounds like some nonsense bureaucracy. Just sounds like some nonsense bureaucracy. The first one, I vividly remember trying to explain how my mental health prevented me from getting basic life done, and the guy was like, but your legs work though. Yeah, no, it's dog shit. It's dog shit. It's absolute dog shit. Fuck the Tories. Fuck them all. It's so annoying. As the Canary has documented for years, none of this is true, a fact that shouldn't even need stating. Goland also said adult social care remained at the heart of government reform plans, as did supported housing. However, the latter was nonsense. For example, the government's own figures show that just 10% of new build housing is properly accessible. Yeah. Focusing on what disabled people can do according to us instead of disabled people. Yeah, not listening to disabled people in it, basically. As this article states, there are disabled people's organizations all over the UK that have been, banging on the fucking door of number 10, desperately trying to get him to listen to him. And they just aren't. They just simply aren't in it. Do you know what I mean? Goland also had the cheek to say that the government had found disability hate crime unacceptable and taken measures to reduce it. This ignores the UNCRPD's 2018 warning that the government itself was driving this. The committee's then chair, as the Canary previously reported, said that the government and the media have some responsibility for society seeing disabled people as parasites, living on social benefits and living on the taxes of other people. And she said these very, very dangerous attitudes could lead to violence, and if not, to killings and euthanasia. And she urged the government to stop this. Now, this was in 2018, 2 years before lockdown, and in lockdown, disabled people were being given do not resuscitate orders just because they were disabled when they were in hospital with COVID. Yeah? And so she was right. It was leading to euthanasia. Moreover, disability hate crimes has risen by around 50% in the last 4 years. So whatever the Tories claim they're doing is not working. She waxed lyrical about what the government had done for special education needs and disabilities provision, saying its plans would give children and families greater confidence that they'll be able to fulfill their potential. This ignored the fact that under the Tories, SEND funding is having to either A, come out of existing Department for Education money, or B, might not actually exist and has already been raided for other areas. They just fucking make shit up. Chat. So, what did the committee have to say about the UK government's evidence? UNCRPD member Rosemary KS responded to the government. She said, international human rights law is based on the inherent dignity and worth of the human person, that we are all equal. The UK has agreed to be bound by these principles and norms. Since 2017, we find evidence of regression in the standards and principles of the CRPD. We see a reform agenda that is framed in a political narrative that demonizes disabled people, including proposals to cut disability benefits to reward working people, that tells disabled people that they are undeserving citizens, coupled with an onerous and complex social benefit system that is the basis for trauma and preventable mental illness. She's right, and she should fucking say it. Anyone who's been through the benefit system knows this shit. Anyone. Also, welcome to the stream, Sir Demon. How are you doing? Good to see you. He listed a damning hit list of the government's misdemeanors since 2017. These included court cases against government policies, where courts ruled against the government, increasing rates of institutionalization of disabled people, including insecure mental health facilities, so basically prisons, hospitals, and being housebound due to inadequate government support. Use of restraints, restrictive practices, and coercion in institutional settings. Unsafe, inaccessible housing, or homeless disabled people. There are so fucking many homeless disabled people, chat. Like, I can't even begin to tell you. The work capability assessment being onerous, not being trauma-informed, using inexperienced and unqualified assessors, and it not taking into account disabled people's specific circumstances. And that is going to be a result of privatization, or as the head of the committee or whoever was making the statement said before, that just not having the money and not actually spending the money on it in the proper ways, right? The government putting in place pervasive frameworks that undermine disabled people, devalues them, that paint them as undeserving, skiving off and defrauding the system, which has all resulted in hate crime. Yeah. Policies resulting in deaths and suicide. The committee has heard disabled people facing intolerable situations, even death, while trying to comply with the eligibility requirements of the UK government's benefits regimes, work capability assessments, and programs administering support. What we have heard suggests a significant and shameful gap between the CRPD requirements and the lived experience of disabled people. Jacobs also fired criticisms at the UK government. These included whether policies implemented, including adequate standards of living, met the CRPD. Lived experience of disabled people is running contrary to their rights. The amount of benefits are insufficient, and too many disabled people are living in poverty. Repeated patterns of disabled people taking their own lives due to the benefit system. The benefit assessment process causing people to have mental health crises. This is something I've wanted to speak about for like a long time. And I've been planning on making a video about it because there's so much intersectionality about it. And it's basically how bureaucracy kills people, right? Because the Department of Work and Pensions is bureaucracy, yeah? And in the same way, the NHS, trans people looking for healthcare on the NHS, that's also a form of bureaucracy. Another form of bureaucracy is the housing system, the homeless services. And these all result in people fucking dying. The most marginalized people in our society dying, yeah? And it's just something that needs to be highlighted because, fascism can be very obvious, but it can also be very sort of, what's the word? It can just be like, it can be institutionalized, right? It can be like, okay, well, we have a bunch of policies, we have a bunch of ways of doing things that actually result in the deaths of marginalized people, but that suits the government. It suits the government, it suits the people in power, because they are fascists and they simply do not care about those people dying, right? And this is just another example of it. Just another example of it. No, that's right, Phoebe. Yeah, what's the Chumbawamba song? If we get an unofficial hype train, if we get 3 donos in a row, chat, 3 donos in a row, I'll play you the Chumbawamba song about the day the Nazis died. Yeah. Yeah, the bureaucracy of the Imperial Corps is an actual nightmare. It is. Yeah. Disability, the leading cause of homelessness in the US. Yeah. I have an invisible disability, autism, might be a misdiagnosis of trauma symptoms. My psychiatrist expressed surprise that I had 2 friends. Jesus Christ. Yeah. She said, we're fully committed. The UNCRPD, a convention the UK government was actively involved in developing and that we ratified in 2009. This is laughable, as all the evidence to this point had shown. Golan then went on to broadcast a combination of rhetoric, sound bites, and word soup. She failed to address any of the points KS or Jacobs raised in terms of the benefit system, deaths on its watch, nor the inadequacy of it. Other civil servants also spoke and equally failed to address any of UNCRPD's most serious points. One mentioned the cost of living payments, gaslighting, everyone who had experienced the reality of them not being enough. Perhaps most shockingly, one civil servant called the government's systematic persecution of chronically ill and disabled people, which has directly led to tens of thousands of deaths, as it being committed to improving the lives of disabled people and delivering the most ambitious disability reform agenda in a generation. It's just not true, though, is it? It's just simply not true. Jesus fucking Christ. It's hard to overstate just how despicable this is. The UK government civil servant's words come just months after an inquiry found that the DWP was wrong to stop claimant Errol Graham's benefits because it led him to starve to death. It was these previous reforms which led to Errol dying. Overall, Golan and the UK government's representation of itself was a disgrace. It's highly likely, in fact, almost a certainty, that the Tories will continue to downplay, whitewash its appalling record on the rights of chronically ill and disabled people. Moreover, the UK's opposition Labour Party, likely to be elected to government this year, is following a similar path to the incumbents, pledging to clamp down on people reliant on social security. Cool. Great stuff, Keith. Can't wait for the Keith Starmer government. Gonna be so cool. Yeah, that was sarcasm. Plus, the UNCRPD's hands are effectively tied. There is no legal recourse for it to take action against the UK government over the violations. So, another example of, like, United Nations being a bit of a sham. A bit of a sham government. A bit of a sham parliament. On the basis of this meeting, it seems that UNCRPD is preparing to issue a similar report to 2016's grave and systematic violations verdict. Jacobs summed up the situation by saying, light needs to be shone on the dark corners of public administration in order for justice to be done. Light was certainly shone on the 18th of March. Now we wait to see if justice will indeed be done. Well, that was a really good report from the Canary, and yeah, I'm unsurprised at the findings. The Tories have been absolutely awful. Absolutely awful for any kind of disabled person's rights. The Tories have just been awful. You could just stop there, right? You can literally just stop there. All right, Barnet mental health social workers strike. So this is John McDonnell down at the picket line in Barnet. Let's see what he's got to say. Let me just turn down these tunes real quick. Oh, hello. We got another Twitter video here. Twitter video moment. Can we get this to work?
Mental health social workers have taken 27 days, lost working days. Barnet Council has yet to make a reasonable offer despite this dispute. Due to the anti-trade union laws, Unison have had to reballot, and Unison members have voted 100% for strike action. They plan to start an unprecedented 9 weeks of strike action over a 13-week period. So I'm asking comrades across the movement to support their campaign.
Let's fucking go.
Social workers have a slogan: saved service, no waiting list, fair pay. Please try to go along to their fundraiser on the Friday the 5th of April at the Pelican House, Bethnal Green, or join their picket line on the 15th of April. Solidarity.
Thanks, John. Big up, John. We got some strike action going on there. Be interesting to try and reach out to Unison mental health workers, strikers. See if we can get some of them on Red Planet. I don't know. My ADHD stopping me from taking care of myself, let alone working. The DWP. Ew, you're clearly a filthy scrounger. Please complete 1 million forms to prove you deserve any crumbs. Yeah, it's such a joke. Yeah, I went to sit with one of my comrades from the union who got made redundant, and she had to go and get like PIP and all this stuff, and it's like the way that they make you feel is just fucking horrible. So horrible. Like, she was in tears, innit? Do you know what I mean? And it's like absolutely awful. Absolutely fucking awful. Okay. Final thing for Twitter. Final bit of Twitter news garbage. We've found 5 GB News programs featuring politicians acting as news presenters in breach of due impartiality rules. So this is Ofcom. This is the government body that is supposed to be the Office of Communications. So any kind of media-based breaking of Ofcom rules is supposed to be like, you're supposed to get a fine, or you're supposed to get some kind of, what's the word, you know, some kind of restrictions placed, or you know, have some kind of investigation done. And well, they have been doing an investigation of GB News. You know, GB News, friends of the show. They're always here, aren't they? GB News fans. You know, they love the djmuel, the Donkus Mule stream. All 5 programs in question contain a mix of news and current affairs content. We found that the host politicians acted as newsreaders, news interviewers, or news reporters in sequences which clearly constituted news, including reporting breaking news events without exceptional justification. News was, therefore, not presented with due impartiality. So, you know, the person here quote tweeting this but won't be doing anything about it is probably right. They're probably not going to do anything about this. It's probably not going to, like, what's it going to change? Like, what are you going to do about it, man? Like, what are you fucking going to do about this? Are you going to tell GB News to stop broadcasting, or I don't know, man. What's the sum up of this situation? Most likely nothing. Well, listen, we're moving on. We're moving on now. We're coming out of this segment, and we're going into the next segment. It's the anti-imperialist hour, chat. You love to hear it. That's fucking right. Fucking right. We hate imperialism because it's really shit and bad. So we're going to be starting off by just hearing a little bit from some breakthrough news. This is a really interesting title of a video. I'm excited to hear what these two have got to say. Breakthrough News. Been wanting to watch a lot more of their content recently. So please make sure you go and support Breakthrough News. Give them a like, give them a subscribe, give them a comment, watch the video in a muted tab, watch their other content. Very, 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 very cool shit. We're going to have a little look at what they are talking about here with regards to being humiliated in Ukraine and exposed in Gaza, what it means for the decline of the West with Arnaud Bertrand. So let's strap on, and get to it.
The rape of Nanking, which you might have heard of by the Japanese during right before the Second World War in 1937, where you also had, even on a bigger scale, because I think it's 300 to 400,000 civilians were murdered in the most atrocious ways, on women raped and so on by Japanese. But what's interesting is that the Japanese were trying to hide that. It was Japanese soldiers on the ground doing all of this. But the Japanese were trying to hide that from their own population. Which when you read the book, I've read a book about it. You could see they were like staging, the foreign press or the Japanese press coming to Nanjing in the midst of the massacre, on like staging an area, showing them everything is well. It's just anti-Japanese propaganda that we're doing this. It's absolutely not true. Look at these very happy Chinese right there, stuff like that. So they were trying to hide. And here, not only is the Israeli government not like proud of what they're doing, but you have the population, like we're seeing at the crossings into Gaza, joining in on saying, no, we don't want any humanitarian aid to those people.
Yeah, fucked up.
Hello, everyone. I'm Rania Kalik, and this is Dispatches. The collective West is so sure of its superiority, it doesn't seem to notice that it's in a state of decline. It's facing an obvious defeat in Ukraine, but is determined to continue fighting Russia to the last Ukrainian.
Reminds me of the Lost Futures videos on Nanking. Well, yeah, that's because it's about Nanking, isn't it? They were talking about the same thing.
It insists on antagonizing China in ridiculous ways, with U.S. members of Congress demanding Biden ban TikTok. Meanwhile, they have zero shame about the genocide in Gaza, even as it's making the world hate the U.S. and Israel, creating a kind of battle between the global North and global South, and laying bare the atrocious reality of the so-called rules-based order. Here to discuss this and more is Arnaud Bertrand, a commentator
Japan stands for super brutal, yeah, I heard.
Based in Shanghai. But before we jump into it, this is just part of this episode. The full interview is available to Breakthrough News members only.
Damn, chat, you gotta go give money to Breakthrough News.
/Breakthrough News.
Heard it hit first.
And as always, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell so you get a notification whenever we post new content. And if you appreciate this show, you can also donate below on YouTube. Arnaud, welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much, Rania. I'm glad to be back.
It's really good to have you back on. And I mean, the last time we spoke, it was probably more than a year ago at this point. We've talked about Ukraine before. We've talked about China before. A lot of the same issues are taking place in the world, but we have this sort of added horrific genocide in Gaza that we're witnessing in the midst of everything else that's going down. So I think a good place to start would be, I saw you share this piece on Twitter. It was a really good piece. It's by Michael Brenner, the academic. It's called "The West's Reckoning." And its subtitle is "The West has set itself on a path of collective suicide, both moral and economic." And he goes on and makes the point that, that the genocide in Gaza, combined with this sort of obvious Western defeat in Ukraine that the West refuses to really concede over, is contributing to the decline of Western hegemony. So before we get into some of the more detailed topics that we're going to talk about, I'm curious your comments on that sort of general theme of the defeat in Ukraine mixed with the just complete disastrous, horrific genocide in Gaza, contributing to this decline in Western hegemony that I think began even before that.
Yeah, so exactly. I think actually Ukraine and Gaza are the great revealers of things that were already the case, that started before. So with Ukraine, we can see that the West is actually much weaker militarily and economically than we thought. Militarily, because despite the entire and wholesale support of the whole of NATO behind Ukraine, Russia is winning. They sent Ukraine so many weapons that they've depleted their own arsenals, and Russia is winning, which is quite stunning when you think about it. And,
pretty stunning, yeah.
Economically, it shows that they're weak because they unleashed on Russia the most draconian set of sanctions ever unleashed on a single country. They even went as far as cutting them up from SWIFT and confiscating all their dollar reserves and so on.
Is that true? Is it true what he's saying here about that? Like, is it worse than the embargo on Cuba? I mean, I know that there are some concessions that the US made with Cuba, but maybe, I don't know, maybe it's worse than Cuba. I'm not sure.
Despite all this, Russia is growing faster than any other economy in Europe, which again is incredible. So if that's not a display of weakness, I don't know what is. And then with Gaza, we can see that their values were just empty talk.
I think it's important when we listen to people like this chat to remember, because this guy, I had a little look at who this guy is, and he's an economist and geopolitician, and I couldn't think of a more cursed combination. Not geopolitician. He talks about geopolitics, and he's an economist. And we have to remember that this guy is if he's talking about, the economy is good and the economy is growing, he might just be doing this from a capitalist perspective and not really understanding that it is just, the economy in Russia is growing. Well, it doesn't mean that, the working class person in Russia is having a good time. It doesn't mean that they're not being conscripted to go and fight in this fucking war that they don't want to go in and stuff like that. But yeah. just to make sure that everybody is like, not just taking what this guy says at sort of face value. We got to be critical at least.
That's what they said all along, that they were defending, like human rights.
Like, show me the economy. Bring it to me. Show it to me. Is it real? Can you touch it? Can you smell it? No. Well, it's not real, is it?
International law and so on. They actually don't care about when it goes against their own interests. And if your values are conditional, those values don't exist. It means you have deeper unstated values on principles, which the war on Gaza revealed, which are imperialism, the importance of the West collectively remaining on top of the food chain, even if it means perpetrating genocide. To me, the deeper significance of Gaza, I've said this a lot on Twitter, is that it's fundamentally a fight between the rules-based order and international law. The rules-based order, basically Western supremacy, has been forced to reveal itself in an unprecedented way as running in opposition to international law.
Yeah, absolutely.
Humanitarian law.
Which it claims to have, set up for the good of humanity.
Against the UN, against UNRWA, ready to defend the killing of journalists, the killing of humanitarian workers, the mass killing of civilians, and so forth. So it's masks of time. What's behind the mask is immensely repulsive to the immense majority of the planet, and I might add very repulsive even to many people within Western countries.
Yeah, it really is just every day gets worse. It's every day you think you can't be shocked more than you already have been, and then the Israelis, the Americans, they do something even more horrific than what was already taking place, and we've now entered the 6 months of this horror in Gaza. And, I think something interesting about what we're witnessing in Gaza, on top of just the absolute horror and just disturbing to watch Israeli society sort of like descend into this fascistic madness, is at the same time, you still, till now, have the U.S. political class defending every little thing the Israelis do. You've seen them, I know, because I see you tweet about it, these statements from these spokespeople for the State Department or the National Security Council, people like Matt Miller and John Kirby will get up on their podiums and defend or justify, the starvation of children, or, crazy genocidal statements by the Israelis, or the torture of UN workers, or the bombing of entire residential areas. I mean, I could go on and on and on, right? While at the same time, the U.S., and this is something we've discussed in the past, you and I, the U.S. political leaders have continued to accuse China of carrying out a genocide in Xinjiang, which seems even more laughable, like when you look at Gaza versus Xinjiang. If you just compare, this is what a genocide looks like. You can say what you want about maybe some of China's policies at some point in Xinjiang, but it's actually like an economically very viable area of China that lots of people visit for tourism. And the reason I raise that is because you now have this letter that you had actually shared, where U.S. members of Congress are urging Biden, it's a bipartisan push, to get Biden to prohibit American citizens from visiting Xinjiang to prevent what they call genocide tourism. So in the midst of this genocide in Gaza, an actual genocide, I'm curious what your thoughts are on this particular development. It just seems so, like, the audacity to continue to say genocide's happening in Xinjiang while actually carrying out one in Gaza is just mind-blowing to me. Yeah. But please, go ahead.
Yeah, it is mind-blowing. I mean, with Gaza, we can see, like you said, what an actual genocide looks like in the age of social media, maybe for the first time, I think. So despite Israel's technological prowess and its complete subjugation of the Palestinians, there is no hiding it. We can see a daily stream of the most atrocious images and testimonies. And you also get, of course, which is a big characteristic of genocide, extremely dehumanizing rhetoric by the perpetrator to justify their actions. So, statements like human animals and the likes. And you can now contrast this with Xinjiang, and it becomes immediately obvious just how bullshit, excuse my French, the narrative is. We've not seen not a single picture of atrocities coming from Xinjiang. not one picture of a dead child, woman, or even man. The only one picture that keeps circulating is of Uyghur men sitting in a prison yard, as if that was indicative of genocide. Xinjiang has prisons like every single place on earth. If that was
Okay, I was looking for this fucking tweet for ages because I was trying to be a smart, fucking funny streamer, and it took me so long to find it. It took me so fucking long to find this tweet. And I was just gonna post it because she was saying like, oh, all these fucking senators that just like love Joe Biden and they don't care that he's doing genocide and shit like that. And I just wanted to bring up this example of that. You know, I can't believe he tweeted this, chat. I can't believe he tweeted this. Some of the worst people on the internet want me to get another stroke. The only stroke I'll have is stroking my dick, thinking about the 12,500 dead Palestinian children I helped to kill. I can't believe he tweeted that. I can't believe he tweeted that, chat. That's a real tweet that John Fetterman tweeted. So, you know, at what point is that real? No, it's not. It's not real. It's not real. But it's funny that you had to ask. It's pretty funny that you had to ask. Oh, God. Anyway, you want to see more stuff like that? Check out the ACABelonB on Twitter.
indicative of genocide.
Really had me there. Did it not? Did it not give away? Did I not give away the game by saying this is a definitely real tweet that he definitely tweeted? I thought I was being as obvious as it could be about that.
Be absolutely meaningless. And most importantly, there is no
I got you.
Rhetoric
I got
from
you.
Chinese leaders or Chinese people.
I'm bad at sarcasm. I'm bad at sarcasm, chat.
Accusations by literally
nothing would surprise me anymore. Yeah.
Go check the Twitter account of any Chinese ambassador, and you will see an endless content Xinjiang celebrating Uyghur culture.
It's believable from what we've heard about him, right? Exactly, yeah.
The declarations of
that's a bag of neurodivergent sarcasm just flies right over. It's true. It's true.
You know, day and night.
I was waiting.
To your point, Xinjiang, partly in reaction to the accusations, has become China's most...
It does sound like him, though. That's the thing. That's why it's difficult. Because it does sound like something that John Fetterman would say. Listen, John Fetterman stood on a building with like a fucking Israel flag tied around his fucking neck, yeah, while a pro-Palestine protest was going on in where? Philadelphia? It could easily be in an IDF reel. Yeah, it could be. Genuinely, yeah.
Popular touristic destination with a crazy, I think, 265 million tourists visiting last year.
Yeah, we have a unique situation in this chat where I'm bad at doing sarcasm, and a lot of the community can't detect sarcasm.
So China has effectively adopted a policy.
So don't worry, I wasn't going to let, just so everybody knows, if no one knows how I deal with sarcasm on the stream, I wouldn't have just let that sit. Yeah, I wouldn't have just let that sit. I would have eventually been like, that's not real. I was just waiting for someone to say, is that real, like Catgirl Steph?
Eyes if the Americans are lying on it. And anyone around the world can freely go to Xinjiang to check it out. There are literally zero restrictions. And China has even dropped the visa requirements for dozens of countries. Like
largest prison strikes in Belgium in recent years. Hell yeah, Vord, send me some info about that.
And of course, all those tourists go there with their mobile phones, obviously. Which makes the...
I can literally book a flight to Urumqi, Xinjiang right now if I want to fly for 24 to 36 hours and see it for myself. Yep.
Ironically enough, those US lawmakers that you were mentioning wrote a letter to Blinken urging him to ban Americans from traveling to Xinjiang in order to, I quote, prevent Americans to conceal atrocity crimes. So... by going to see what's happening.
What I want to know is why there seems to be so much mask-off bloodthirstiness these days. What what we have to remember is that there are lots of people who have not been aware of just how vile things like support for Israel is, right? For a long time. And recently, this is what this whole thing is, right? This is what this whole video is about. It's about the decline of the West, because us, you know, the fucking proles all over the imperial core are all of a sudden going, do you know what? Our countries are just fucking evil, and we're beginning to see the cracks in all of the propaganda. And what we're seeing as propaganda now might appear to be mask off bloodthirstiness, like you say. But the mask off bloodthirstiness that we're actually seeing, the most of the stuff, is actually really bad, because that comes from legit Hasbara, people paid by fucking Israel to like go online, but also just like some Jewish people in the diaspora who've just been like super fucking radicalized, like just Zionists who are like fascists, you know? Like I like this is a kind of phenomena that I can speak to, because I remember thinking my elder stepbrother was getting like a bit much in terms of being racist. Like I used to think that he just used to do it to try and annoy me because he knew I was a lefty. But as things started to like decline in our relationship, I started to realize like, actually, no, I think he believes some of this stuff. I think he genuinely believes some of this stuff. And it just kind of revealed it to me in the way that he was with me about the things that I was saying about Israel and Palestine, and how he got like all my fucking like my stepsister and my other stepbrother to just like send me a big text telling me how anti-Semitic and horrible I am and how they hate me and the fact that I've been to their weddings and all this stuff, you know. So it's like it's just something that you don't really see until you go, oh, I get it now. I understand why. It's the people are like, especially Israelis, right? Israel is like a society that is so deeply fucking fascist that if you're engaged in a lot of conversation with Israelis and you have like community, right, with people in Israel, maybe you've got family over there, and then because you got family over there, you got friends over there, and then they all just start talking about Arabs like this, and then they start talking about like anyone who supports Palestinians as being like terrorist sympathizers, terrorist supporters, and all that shit. It's just gonna fucking like wriggle into your brain and become a big worm, you know, and that's the end of it, right? You just become super radicalized. But then also you also like see, you know, say, oh well, in the West, well, most people don't like brown people in the West anyway, so it's fine. We don't have to like say too much about it. But then as soon as there was this massive pushback recently on everything that Israel was saying about Gaza, people have started to realize, oh, okay, yeah, this is actually really fucked up, and that's made, you know, the kind of people who are unfortunately really susceptible and radicalized by that ideology, to just go sicko mode. You know what I mean? They've just gone fucking sicko mode. You know what I mean? Fucking mental. Yeah, account created 5 minutes ago. Joseph Stalin 45. Yeah. You're definitely a good faith chatter, dude. Joseph Stalin 45. Holy shit!
With your
man.
own eyes, you conceal what's going on there, and in order not to conceal, you shouldn't look.
Like I'm not even like the kind of guy. You know, the information that has come to light about like the fucking USSR in it. Do you know what I mean? And a lot of the stuff that we like fucking heard about Stalin and what he did was like kind of just basically pretty fucking similar to what the West and the Imperial Core were doing, if not actually a little bit better. You know, so I'm not even like the kind of guy to like super defend Stalin, but I'm also like learning a bit about him. But yeah, I'm not about to have a guy called Joseph Stalin. I don't think any fucking serious leftist is gonna call themselves Joseph Stalin. Do you know what I mean? So fucking funny. Prince Infidel says, I went to a non-binary Jewish wedding 2 weeks ago. The rabbi stuck in a couple of pro-Israel statements, but she seemed shy about it. He knew it was controversial even in that crowd. This is the thing, bro. This is the thing. It's fucked. It's so fucked. Hey, 3 Geese in a trench coat. How you doing? Welcome in. Hey, Lost Futures. Good to see you. I argue it's always been like this, but only Palestinians and Arabs noticed it. Yeah, well, of course, because we're white people in the West. And the majority of white people in the West don't know about that kind of stuff. They don't even know that they're being racist. They don't even know that I don't understand how that's different to what I was saying. I mean, no, I guess I know what you're saying. It's like, but no, I'm genuinely sort of like, because I've been following the Palestine stuff for like a long time. Do you know what I mean? For over like 5 years. Like I want to say like for the last 10 years, I've been following what's been going on in Palestine. And from everything that I've seen in the past, it's been like you had to really dig to find the most horrific, violent Israeli Zionist things like that they say about like Palestinians and stuff, but that shit is so prevalent now, and I actually think it's like a multitude of different things. I think it's because Elon Musk just allows hate speech on his platform, yeah, and also at the same time there is TikTok, and there are Palestinians using TikTok and social media that have been able to actually report on what's happening over there. It's this unique situation, this like sort of unique information crossover point. That's why they're trying to ban TikTok, right? That's why they're trying to ban it. I wish someone would do a TO meme account like his fake Canadian passport name, Spiridon Mekas or something. Yeah, that would be good. That would be good. Yeah. Anyway, let's crack on. How you doing, Lost Futures? Good to see you.
Look into it, into details. I mean, irony is well and truly dead. It's just ridiculous.
Meanwhile, people actually can't go to Gaza. There's journalists who'd like to go.
Everybody go follow Lost Futures on YouTube.
They try to cut off the communications.
Let's get him to 5,000 subs.
Crucial here is like, yeah, go ahead.
Killed journalists.
Yes, they've killed they've killed like 150 journalists or something insane like that. Exactly. It's crazy. And they're obviously intentionally targeting them. I mean, there's just no comparison in the sense of, and then to be justifying that while still going with this crazy narrative is so insane. You mentioned France a few times, and so I want to pivot to France real quick. I mean, this is the country.
Hey, Lexi, what's going on? Good to see you.
This is where you grew up. You're French, so you know the political system there well. So let's start with the French government. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Nobody is perfect.
We forgive you. Thank you. But you know, when it comes to the...
That's how I feel when someone says you're British. It's exactly the same. I'm glad he's ashamed. It's good to be ashamed. I'm glad he's ashamed. Let's give him a round of applause, you know? Give him a round of applause. Well done, lad.
Issue of Gaza, Arnaud, where does the French government stand with regard to Israel's genocide in Gaza? I know it, full-heartedly supported everything Israel did after October 7th. Then at some point, I think France did.
Yeah, it's fucked up in it, Lost Futures. Yeah,
they wanted a ceasefire. But I imagine this is, I guess let's start with this. What's French government policy towards Gaza? And then I'd love for you to kind of break down perhaps how this issue is breaking down inside France politically, because any issue that has to do with the Middle East or North Africa, particularly when it comes to like Islam or Islamic groups, tends to have a very polarizing impact in France.
Yeah, so, I mean, France historically had a policy of being very close to Arabic countries in its foreign policy since de Gaulle. As a Lebanese yourself, you probably know this.
Since de Gaulle, he said. De Gaulle.
Remember how close Chirac was to the Hariri family, for instance. He even spent his final years living in a Hariri family apartment in Paris. It looked corrupt as hell, but that's besides the point. And France was historically the one Western country most ready to defend the Palestinian cause. It's no coincidence that one of the main streets in Ramallah is named after Chirac, and there is a Charles de Gaulle Street in Gaza. But since then, with Sarkozy, Hollande, now especially Macron, there has been a divorce between France and the Arab world. France, as far as its foreign policy is concerned, has largely become aligned behind the US, unfortunately. Just another henchman of the empire, basically.
Yeah, that's fucked up, Woodburg.
That's
people like that just need to be bullied. Woodburg just said in the chat, I saw somebody had vandalized some pro-ceasefire aid posters, and I don't know how people can't have an "Are we the baddies" moment there. Like, at the end of the day, there's two types of people who will do that. There's like a straight up fascist who's like unapologetic, don't care about it. You know, they fucking hate minorities, any kind of marginalized person. They're just an out and out neo-Nazi. Or it's a fucking like very, very, very indoctrinated, misled liberal who's just like annoyed that they don't understand it, and so they're like latching on to like what they have been propagandized to believe. You know, it's one of the two, right? But that propaganda is so strong. That's what we have to remember, right? That's what we have to remember. And this is why I said these people just have to be bullied, because if they're in community with people, yeah, Anna Kasparian. Yeah, like it could be Anna Kasparian. That's true. That's true, Three Geese. Yeah, no, like if they're in community, if people like that are in community with people who understand what the liberation of Palestine means and why it needs to happen, they just need to be bullied. They just need to be bullied for these like terrible, terrible takes that they have. Like, oh, what, you think that there shouldn't be a ceasefire? Why? You know, you just hate brown people. That's all it is. That's literally all it is. You know. I couldn't think of a more perfect person to be bullied than Anna Kasparian, to be honest. That fucking clip from last week where she was like, oh, I just don't want to see homeless people with the garbage. Just don't want to see homeless people with their garbage. They're sleeping on their garbage. If you get a house, you're supposed to take it. Like, oh, just shut up. She is... Like, we raided into $27 stream, and someone was like talking about her like being, oh, she's Armenian. But like David was so funny about it. He was literally like, yeah, but you gotta listen to what other racialized people are saying about her in it, and she's pretty fucking white. Come on, like let's be real about it.
That was particularly clear during the war.
Just one of the whitest fucking takes.
Macron has led not one,
she's such a fucking prick.
National commemorations for the victims of October 7th, but nothing for the Palestinians. And some members of his governments have been like just utterly insane. So, for instance, Aurore Berger, who is the French minister for the fight against discriminations, literally announced that she will stop funding all French feminist organizations that do not promote Israel's understanding of October 7th and what happened afterwards.
Insane. So what the fuck?
You had the minister against discriminations openly discriminating, which is kind of insane. And it comes in a context where, as you
fucking minister in France is like, we're going to stop giving money to feminist organizations unless they promote the Israeli line on what's happening in Gaza. That is fucking mental. That is fucking mental. That just goes to show how deep normalization has gone, right? I guess if I saw a poster that said send aid to IDF to support Israel, I'd be tempted to deface that poster, assuming it's legal, obviously. So giving it the most massive benefit of the doubt to the person who vandalized the ceasefire aid poster, maybe they're so indoctrinated that the sides are completely reversed in their mind. It's getting really hard to give that kind of benefit of the doubt. No, that is what it is. It is reversed in their mind. In their mind, Israel are the good guys and they're killing the baddies and all that kind of stuff. But they're just wrong. Like, they are just wrong. They're simply wrong. They're confidently wrong. And they're unable to be wrong because they live in, you know, a country that has normalized relations with Israel and is itself. Because Woodborg, I know, is British, unfortunately. My condolences. You know, they're they're you know, they're in a country that has normalized relations with Israel and supports the ethnic cleansing in Gaza. Goes to show if you can't be a bigot in one single way, it tends to extend into all intersections in life. That's why so many TERFs are fascists, Zionists, or anti-feminist, etc. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Said French.
These kinds of like, you know, these kinds of likes. It's yeah. Most Germans in the 1940s thought they were right. Right. This is it. Like most. If you have a reactionary view about one thing, it's so easy to have a reactionary view about another thing. And in fact, Anna Kasparian is a good example of that, right? She has like edged into the reactionary TERF realm, and now she's being reactionary about homeless people in LA, right? What's the next thing going to be? I know that there's some other stuff that she said as well recently that people are like, but again, you know, I can't remember who said this, but she's jealous of that Dave Rubin money. She's jealous of that Jimmy Dore money. She's looking at like how much money those motherfuckers are making who used to be on their show. And she's going, God damn it, man. I wish I had that nice, comfortable life that I want. I wish I had that nice, comfortable life that I so sorely need. You know, that they can offer me here in the Imperial Core. So, you know, reactionary button turned up to 11. Also, hi for Tumch. Welcome to the stream. Good to see you.
Society is very polarized, with the majority of the population moving to the right, even to the extreme right, towards those who platform openly Islamophobic, you know, rhetoric. And
also, I want to try and unpack that guy that came in with the name Joseph Stalin 45. Coming in and saying BT News is great stuff. Like, are they trying to say that Breakthrough News are Stalinists and what are they, like an anarchist or something that's going around and trolling, like an individualist anarchist that's going around and trolling leftists, other anarchists, by the way. I am an anarchist, in case people weren't aware. You know, like doing the same kind of trolling that like a MAGA fucking Trump guy might do. I don't know. It's just such a weird. That was so weird. I was just thinking about it for a second then, and I was like, that is so odd. That is so genuinely odd.
People like Le Pen or Eric Zemmour. And of course, you still have a minority.
They don't even know.
With
Probably.
Mélenchon, who has about 20% of the votes, but the center is largely gone. And of course, as we are seeing almost everywhere, when you're an Islamophobe, you tend to align with Israel. So I think the majority of the French population,
yeah,
I don't know, well, maybe not the
This is what it is, and it's like, you know, when people don't want to make that comparison to the Holocaust, right? they are just completely denying what happened in the Holocaust, right? Because during the time of the Holocaust, Jewish people were hounded in all of Europe. Like, anti-Semitism was just like how it was. Like, my dad always laughs whenever I've like spoken to him about anti-Semitism and stuff, and he said to me, like, son, it was just like that. Everybody was anti-Semitic. Everybody was, right? And I don't think people realize that enough in the Imperial Core. You know, they were like, the same kind of rhetoric about Muslims was being said about Jews in the 1920s, 1930s, 1800s, all over Europe, and even before that as well. You know, it's like been a historic thing all over Europe, just Jews being fucking like oppressed worldwide as well, especially in America. Like in America, it was like a massive thing too. And you know, and the result of that is that one country became so radicalized that they murdered a load of them, right? Murdered a fucking shitload of Jews, alongside a lot of other marginalized people, right? And that is essentially where we're at with Palestine, because Palestinians are just seen as Muslim, right? Because they're brown. Yeah. Even though arguably some of them are fucking like whiter than some of the Israelis, but like still, the fact remains is that they're seen as Arabs in it. Do you know what I mean? They're seen as Arabs. And so the entire of Europe, and in fact America, are doing this massive Islamophobia thing. They've been harping on it for fucking decades now. I think it's been like 20 fucking years now since like the sort of like anti-Muslim shit has been popping off, and it's mainly just because of US operations in the Middle East, right? Because it's like, well, it's a Muslim majority area, so Muslims are the enemy. And, you know, excuse me, it's been going on for so long now that now we're at that point, yeah? Now we're at that fucking point, literally, where there's a country that has been systematically oppressing Muslims, well, Muslim-coded people, at least anyway, Arabs, brown people, for a long time, for 100 years. And, oh no, there's always been stereotypes of the angry Arab for sure. I'm not saying that like anti-Arab racism hasn't existed before 20 years, but in the mainstream consciousness, you know, Muslims have been quote unquote the enemy of manufacturing consent for about 20 years, maybe longer, maybe 30 years with the Gulf War and stuff. But you know, and now we're at that point where there's a nation that has gone, right, okay, well, we're doing this, yeah, we're doing this, we're doing the genocide, and that's why you have to, you know, you have to absolutely make sure that you are looking at things historically correctly, because otherwise you're just kind of denying what happened. Not only are you denying what's happening now, but you're denying what happened in the time of the Holocaust. And I couldn't think of anything more anti-Semitic than that, really. So yeah, very important. Hey, Riot Girl Kelly, how you doing? Many Jewish people were murdered during medieval witch hunts as well. Yep. Sad that people still think of GRT folks in similar ways. Libs in Europe who are like, oh yeah, racism is bad. So anyway, about the G slurs. Oh no, for sure. Yeah, there's lots of fucking idiots who just aren't a fan of GRT people. Yeah. Keysprung, Huntingdon, and other scholars. I don't understand what that's in reference to. Don't forget to add Russians and Chinese to that list. Which list? Anyway, reading Mouse sure made me realize it. The interviews and data the creator gathered for his research in MetaMouse. Yeah. Also recommend reading the Origins of Totalitarianism by Hannah Arendt. Well, now I'm never going to read it. You know how my brain works. That's never happened. I'm literally never going to read that. Anyway, it sounds like I'm pretty read up on that shit anyway without reading it. So there you go.
But very substantial.
The government list of who we're supposed to hate. Yeah, no. Yeah, no, obviously, but like, I was talking specifically about this particular issue. Yes, I agree. The government tells us to hate Chinese and Russians and everyone. Yes, I know. I'm sorry that like that statement that was specifically about, you know, what's going on right now in Palestine didn't include a very like thorough examination of all the people that we're told to dislike at the moment. My apologies. Samuel Huntington is a class of civilization, the basis of the Bush and Cheney foreign policy. Okay, that makes a lot of sense, Lost Futures. Yeah, thank you.
Percentage of the French population does align with Israel. I think that Macron is basically being a politician at its worst, not a statesman, signing with the
you know it, bud,
in order to try to steal votes from the extreme right. But at the same time, it means that he's playing into their hands by effectively legitimizing their platform.
Well, I mean, in that sense, I'm curious if you could talk a bit about, because I know this is what's happening in the U.S. a lot. It's happening in Germany to an insane degree. But there is this way of course, using anti-Semitism as a weapon to really suppress dissent. So I'm curious if that's also playing out in France. I'm sure you've been seeing it the way it has in the US across college campuses, for example. And of course, the way Congress has jumped in to try to essentially shut down criticism of Israel as just being automatically based in like Jew hatred.
You read criticism of Arendt's book and how it covered Soviet history in a Western-centric way. Yeah, fair enough. I can believe that.
Mélenchon's party, La France Insoumise, which is now the one big party on the left. They're very staunch defenders of Gaza against genocide. I mean, most of their elected officials are daily on Twitter, like defending, international law, the rights of the Palestinians, and so on. And those people are absolutely, accused all the time of being anti-Semitic by many French media, politicians on the other side of the political spectrum. So it is the one tool that they always use if you don't align with Israeli politics, you're an anti-Semite. But yeah, of course they aren't.
Yeah. And I wanted to also move to the issue of Ukraine, because Macron has been getting a lot of attention over the last month for saying something so insane, suggesting something so insane that even other European countries were like, wait, what? He wanted to send French troops to Ukraine.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about
also
this.
France has kind of flip-flopped a bit on the issue of Ukraine. It kind of, it's taken a harder U.S. sort of tone, and then it'll sort of walk it back.
Emmanuel Macron is easily one of the most absurd people I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, the kind of things that he fucking says is just like so bizarre. He's kind of like edging towards Trump a little bit, like just like that sort of like neoliberal edging a little bit over to like fucking conservative, Yeah, super mental.
And then it'll come back to the harsh tone. But this seems pretty extreme, the idea of actually sending French troops. So could you explain, what's behind the idea of sending French troops?
It's obviously like, what's the word? Yeah, he popping his trumpet. That's literally what I was about to say. Just what would be a word? Like, it's just pompous, whatever. I don't know what you would say. It's just super fucking pompous, right? It's like, oh yeah, France is so good. Like, they do fucking French supremacy in France, right? That's the whole thing, right? They're fucking Islamophobes. The whole fucking like government is racist as fuck. They're trying to do French supremacy, so that's what the fucking government does. Posturing is exactly the word, Goblin Hugger. Thank you very much. Yeah. T150 says Germa is a based socialist. Yeah, I could believe it. Yeah. Isn't Ukraine's position they want arms and not troops too? No, I don't think that's true. I think that Ukraine are like pretty desperate for anything at the moment. From what I know. Because they're in like debt now with the US government, because the US government were like, well, here's some arms, but if you want any more, you're going to have to pay for them. And they're like, yeah, we don't have any money. And so the US were like, well, here's some loans that you can buy our arms with. So that's good, isn't it? That's good. It's a good all-round great result for Ukraine. Very shit.
And has Macron gone completely mad? I mean, does France really think that it should be involving itself militarily in that kind of direct way in a confrontation with Russia?
Yeah, it's very hard to understand what was behind it. I mean, one context is
another American satellite state. Yeah,
EU right now with Macron's party, obviously.
Well, it's a client state, isn't it? It's a client state. It's like, okay, we're gonna use you as our front line to have a proxy war with an enemy that we don't like. And your civilians are going to bear the brunt of this. We're not going to attempt to go into any negotiations. We're going to give you all these fucking arms. Not trying any kind of diplomacy whatsoever. just completely fucking like, and you know, I'm no fan of fucking Putin, but he's like said, yeah, I'll sit down at the negotiating table to like end the war and shit. And the US have just been like, no, more weapons for Ukraine, more loans. And it's like, well, now Ukraine are fucked. Do you know what I mean? Now they're actually fucked. So it's kind of one of them. If your goal in a war is to have the least people possible die, yeah, then they've not done very well. They've not done very well, and they're not doing very well. You know, it's just fucked. It's so fucking fucked, honestly. Hey Morrigan, how are you doing? Too bad you can't just seize Arab land to pay for US arms Ukraine. Right, exactly, yeah. Fucked up.
Being a major candidate there.
It's fucked up how that happens.
So I think there is some politicking, him trying to, basically show that he's tough on Russia in order to get elected because he thinks that will play well with the public. I think there is also some sort of power struggle within Europe.
Chat, we got a politics understander in the chat. Macron is still better than Le Pen. Yeah. I remember when I first started learning about politics. I remember those days.
In order to, I think that they somehow predict that Trump will get elected. And
yeah, that's right, for Tums, yeah, the EU army, yeah.
Trump has several times said that, the US...
Well, every fucking country in Europe now is literally like, obsessed with war with Russia, aren't they? Like the British are obsessed with it. The fucking Germans are obsessed with it. The fucking Swedes are obsessed with it. It's one of those. Obviously, we shouldn't support Putin, but I feel like a large part of the reason for the US supporting Ukraine is mentality of Cold War II, proxy war II. It's maintaining imperialist hegemony. That's exactly what it is. Yeah, it's maintaining the US hegemony, and that's the whole fucking reason that they gave him so much weapons and so many arms. Again, even as Putin was like, I'm willing to come to the negotiation table and end this war, but the US were just like, no, we're gonna bomb the shit out of you still. And now they can't fucking afford to give. Well, they can afford to give money to Ukraine, but they're focused on Israel right now. So they don't give a shit about Ukraine anymore, and Ukraine are just like having the worst time and still dying, suffering quite a bit. So yeah, no good. It's no good.
Stop funding NATO and should stop protecting Europe and so on and so forth. So there is some sort of power struggle in Europe for if that happens, who's gonna take the mantle and represent Europe and so on, and there is a big I think struggle between France and Germany. They've really positioned themselves on both sides here with that, with France very clearly saying they will send troops to
here he is,
NATO
chat.
troops to
Here he is.
Ukraine, and then Scholz publicly, which is very rare to see such
Tell him, buddy.
public battle between France and Germany. Scholz publicly saying, basically that's crazy. We're never going to do that. And then you have some
He's shy.
European countries, particularly like the Baltics and so on. Some of
Hey, Bonbon C3PO. Good to see you.
Extremely hostile to the countries more hostile to Russia, siding with France, some siding with Germany, and so on. So, although it's difficult to see exactly the reasoning there, I suspect that that's part of the equation. But it's a very, very dangerous.
Speaking of the boy, chat, consider the boy. It's been 2 hours in, yeah? 2 hours into the stream, and there's been no donos. What's that about, chat? What's that about? I told you, we're going to have a really cool, unofficial hype train. All I need to get to today in order to maintain my progress towards the monthly dono goal is £50 in donos, yeah? That's 5 people donating £10 or 10 people donating £5. It could be you, chat. That's all I'd ask for you. If you go to sub off Twitch, use the sub off Twitch command in the chat. I'll put it in the YouTube chat as well. Why do I ask you to sub off Twitch? Well, Twitch is a terrible website. It bans people for talking about Palestine. It bans people for being women. It bans people for being racialized. It's just a pretty shit platform altogether. So please consider subbing off of it. And YouTube is not that much better either. So it also means that 100% of the money that you donate to the stream comes directly to me, your boy, Donkus Jonkus. And that's what everybody wants, isn't it? That's what everybody wants. We're really close to unlocking double feature movie night. It's not been unlocked yet. Once we hit the halfway point, £300, we'll be unlocking movie night in the Discord for this month. And we'll be watching Daniel Blake, and another film that'll be a bit more cheerful, because Daniel Blake is pretty depressing. But it's a good film about bureaucracy and disabled people in Britain. And I think it's really important politically. So we'll watch a political film and then we'll watch a silly one. So yeah, in order to get to that, we just got to hit the 120 quid or 117 pound or something like that. So we're super, super close to unlocking that midway dono goal. And of course, if we hit the 600 pound final dono goal of the month, I'll be doing a DJ stream next month, dressed as a gnome or not. I've not decided yet. But yeah, think about it, chat. If we get 2 other donos, apparently Steph's done a dono. So now I know that there's a dono coming, so there's no surprise. Unless something's broken. Or it just comes away. It takes a little bit. Oh no, Steph hasn't donated. She's waiting for 2 others. Right, okay. I get it now. Steph is waiting for 2 other people to donate so that we can get the hype train. I'm with you. I got you. I'm with you. Listen, chat. I'm gonna wait a little while for that call to action to have some kind of an effect. You know, like I said, 2 hours in. This is my full-time job. It's what I do to pay the bills, pay the rent, feed myself. And the boy. Consider the boy. You know, think about the boy. Got to buy treats for him. Got to buy food for him. Do you want him to starve? Because that's what's going to happen if you don't sub off Twitch. Anyway, listen. Let's crack on with the stream for now. Thanks very much for hearing me. And if you don't or you can't donate, please consider liking, commenting, retweeting either the Go Live tweet or the Go Live ski on Blue Sky. And there you go. You can help the stream that way. And it means that more people will be able to see the stream and potentially donate. And that will be cool, won't it? Nonny Moose, welcome to the stream. How are you doing?
This game, of course, because you need to think through the consequences there. So if NATO sends troops to Ukraine, maybe then Russia is going to ask countries from its side of the ledger to send troops as well. Why wouldn't they, right? That's kind of fair. And then, maybe other fronts are going to get open. And then you have the nuclear question. There's never been, for very good reasons, there's never been a confrontation between the Warsaw Pact at the time of the Soviet Union and NATO directly, because the risk of nuclear weapons being used is way too important, and then it means...
Holy fucking
Good
shit!
boy.
Anonymous! Thank you so much for subbing off Twitch. Thank you so much for supporting the stream. That's £10. Anonymous doing some heavy lifting for the rest of the chatters there. It means that we only need 4 more £10 donos in order to hit the daily goal for the stream. I believe we can do it, chat. I believe we can do it. We've been on a streak every stream this month so far, and I believe we can do it. I'm absolutely convinced. Yeah, there's Nonny Moose in the chat there, and there's a Nonny Mouse. Catgirl Step with the 1312. Let's go.
I get knocked down. I get back up again. I am the spectre of communism haunting Europe.
Steph, thank you so much for the 1312. Let's see the 1312s in the chat. Let's go. We just need one more dono, chat. One more dono. And we'll be unlocking that unofficial hype train. We'll watch some music together. How good will that be? Watch some music and also listen to it, possibly.
The death of everyone.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very, very
Luna Bellsprout, how's it going? Good to see you.
Yeah, and I think when we talk about the war in Ukraine, I think there's a trend that became more apparent during the war in Ukraine, and that was the split we saw between the way the global North
See,
was
PBP
behaving
knows
about
that you
Ukraine,
can
or
do
as they
it.
like to call themselves, the
PBP's
collective
cheering
West.
you on, chat.
And then the way the global South was behaving about Ukraine, mostly taking either like a neutral position or in some cases a very anti-NATO position. When it came to the global South, you would see this in the vote tallies at the UN, where it would be like this handful of Western countries, all of the European countries, the US, Australia, Japan on one side, supporting
There it is!
Ukraine.
Unofficial. Hype train. Unofficial. Hype train.
Let's go! Woodborg with the £10. Let's fucking go! Not only does that mean that we've unlocked the unofficial hype train, it also means that I only need 2 more £10 donos or 4 £5 donos to hit the daily goal. I told you, I knew we could do it, chat. We're more than halfway. We're more than halfway. So yeah, as the dono text-to-speech implied, we're having an unofficial hype train. If you've not been here before, normally on Twitch, if you donate some subs to the stream, this thing at the top of the chat happens and you get like a hype train. But we unofficially have a hype train because we're not part of the Twitch industrial complex, the Twitch streaming industrial complex. Yeah, we're independent to a degree. So we will be enjoying a actual music video. And it's a short one this time round, but I promised it to everybody because it's a really, really good song. Phoebe G said in the chat earlier that fascism never truly went away, and I referenced this song, which we will be watching now together. So I want to see those dance emotes, chat. I want to see those dance emotes.
Hier. Das ist ein Antifaschismuslied und diese nächste ist auch ein Antifaschismuslied. Wir sind immer noch ein Antifaschismusband.
After the war, the Nazis vanished without a trace, but battalions of fascists still dream of a master race. The history books they tell of their defeat in 45, but they all came out of the woodwork on the day the Nazi died. They say the prisoner of Spandau was a symbol of defeat. Whilst Hess remained in prison, then the fascists they were beat. So the promise of an Aryan world would never materialize. So why did they all come out of the woodwork on the day the Nazi died? The world is riddled with maggots, the maggots are getting fat. They're making a tasty meal of all the bosses and bureaucrats. They're taking over the boardrooms and they're fat and full of pride. And they all came out of the woodwork on the day the Nazi died. So if you meet with these historians, I'll tell you what to say. Tell them that the Nazis never really went away. They're out there burning houses down and peddling racist lies. And we'll never rest again until every Nazi dies.
Let's fucking go, chat. I kept the VOD watchers in for that one. Sorry about that, VOD watchers. Had to unceremoniously eject you from the stream there because we started listening to Tub Thumping because that was a very, very short unofficial hype train. Thank you so much, everybody, for donating to the unofficial hype train. Thank you very much. Appreciate all the donos. Appreciate all the love. Let's go. Literally, chat, only 2 more £10 donos, and we'll be hitting the dono goal for today. Sub off Twitch. Don't forget it. Don't forget, it's what happens. It's how you do it. Okay, right. We're going to crack on with this video from Breakthrough News, talking about the downfall of the West. Mortem Anima, how you doing? Welcome in. I want to read some of the chat messages from that hype train before we get back into this, actually. Fuck yes. Hell yeah. What's clap 2? Why don't I have clap 2? Loads of people trying to do clap 2, and it's a new emote that I just don't have on BTTV. Should I get it? Should I get it? Let me Google that real quick. Twitch TV emotes. It's so fucking funny telling people this band is actually based. Yeah, they got like a lot of really good anarchist folk song stuff. Anti-fascist folk songs. Really, really, really good. Bon C3PO says, we choreographed a fight scene to this song in high school. The scene was Odysseus fighting his wife's suitors. Okay. Oh, it's a 7TV global emote. Right, I need to enable 7TV emotes. Oh, okay, gotcha. I love their cover of Bella Ciao. I've not actually heard that one. I've not actually heard that. Have to give it a fucking go. Such a banger. I grew up knowing that I could get knocked down and I'd get back up again. Yeah. It's how I feel right now, feeling better after like 9 months of fatigue, innit? Do you know what I mean? I got knocked down, but I'm back up again. Fucking sick. Okay, right. Well, I'll enable that in Twitch TV settings, and I'll be able to see clap 2. What else do we got? Trumpets and drinking. What more could I possibly ask for? Both popular in the Balkans. Yeah. Fucking very, very cool. Very, very based. All right, let's get back to this video. The video is pinned at the top of the chat. Don't forget. Go show some love to Breakthrough News. Very, very good. Based reporting.
Like, wholeheartedly. And then on the other side, the rest of the world.
Oh, that's so based.
Apparently doesn't really matter, but like Africa, Latin America, Asia. I mean, of course, there's nuances there, but for the most part, we started to kind of see this dividing line. And I think...
Any news on France? What's happening in France?
At least from my vantage point, that line
this guy's
has
French.
More clear
next to Rania. He's French. Arnaud Bertrand.
We can just look at what South Africa did, right? It took the lead with filing this case against Israel at the International Court of Justice. And then we see other global South countries.
I went on a date with a guy called Arnaud, and he had... what is it called? What's it called? Yeah. Pilonidal cyst, which is basically when you don't wash your bum that much. It's like a cyst above the tailbone, and it's because you don't wash your bum enough. So, and I didn't know what that was. And I didn't like. I didn't say anything like to him. I wasn't like, you've got one of them. But then when he left, I Googled it and I was like, oh, that's because he doesn't clean his bum enough. Oh, gross. So yeah, I didn't speak to him again. There you go.
Have filed cases against Israel, like Nicaragua. This, genocide is essentially the Europeans and the Americans on one side versus the world, give or take a few countries. So I think in many ways, Gaza has become this very explicit fight, battle, whatever you want to call it, at least legally and rhetorically speaking, of the global north versus the global south.
Franz D's nuts.
I'm curious if you would agree with that framing. And if yes, do you see this as a significant, as something significant and part of this bigger pattern that I mentioned that we were already seeing take hold in the midst of the war with Ukraine, as well as the Cold War with China, because we've also seen that same line when it comes to America versus China?
I largely agree with the framing, although it's important to note that some Western countries like Ireland, Belgium, or Spain have been quite clearly denouncing what Israel is doing and supporting international law. And that conversely, some major global south countries like India have been pretty clearly behind Israel because of the Islamophobia that's at the unfortunately at the heart of Modi's platform. So, like I said before, I prefer to frame it in terms of rules-based order versus international law, because then it also gives the option to some Western countries to come to the side of the light, to borrow in the other direction a sentence from Netanyahu, because he said his side was the side of the light. And if you say it's global north versus global south, your global north, your global south, you can't do anything to change your geography. It entrenches the divide and gives no room for evolution.
Yeah, this is why you got to say imperial core and imperial periphery.
No divide, right? We want everyone to be on the side of the light, on the side of international law, on the side of morality. So I think it's important to give that room and frame things with the right languages in order to move towards not a necessary confrontation between even though it's there, I agree, to a large extent, between the global south and the global north, but provides, room for evolution in the future.
Yeah.
It suddenly just got quite cold. I'm going to go and get a jacket.
It's a video I want to play. I think it really encapsulates so much of the insanity that we've been seeing, particularly from the US. And then I'm going to use this video to segue into what I want to ask you about. But first, let's take a look at this.
For every 30 minutes that someone watches TikTok, every day, they become 17% more anti-Semitic, more pro-Hamas based on doing that. We now know that 50% of adults,
Nikki Haley,
18 to 25, think that Hamas was warranted in what they did with Israel.
So that was a failed Republican presidential candidate, former U.S. ambassador to the UN, Nikki Haley, saying,
Nikki, we need you. Losing my shit at 17% more anti-Semitic. Yeah, that's the number, all right? Right? That's a fucking number. You know?
I mean, I still want to know where she got this number.
Like, it's funny because it's like, is she saying that like people get 17% more anti-Semitic? Like, there's like a meter in your body of like anti-Semitism, and like, if you watch TikTok, it just like increases. Gets to 17%, whereas it would have been maybe at 0 beforehand. Yeah, we checked the blood levels. They got terminal anti-Semitism. Data coming from the College of Republican Bullshit. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Number from, because I think she just made it up. That if you watch every 30 minutes, it's just so insane and so specific. For every 30 minutes,
Haley is a goof here in the US. Listen, Anonymous, you know, you've been following for a few months, but let me tell you, right, I am unfortunately quite abreast of some American politics. It's pretty sad, but it is my job actually to know about US politics. They use the advanced 3D test. Yeah, that's right. Hey, Solar Juice, welcome in.
That somebody watches TikTok, they become 17% more anti-Semitic.
Yeah, I was trying to do the math.
I was singing a little bit. Hey Nini, how you doing? I was singing a little bit about the. Y'all heard the Nikki Haley anthem? Y'all know about this?
Never underestimate me, Nikki. I mean Nikki. We need Nikki right now. We need you, Nikki, right now.
Hey, Anabundance, what's going on? I just think it's insane. Like, this guy, Larry Dvoskin, yeah? Hey, Val, what's up? This guy, Larry Dvoskin, he's one of her, like, campaign donors or something. And he just clearly is extremely in love with her. Can we get an unofficial hype train to never play that again? Yeah. Yeah, it's not good. But you know, he wrote this song. This guy, he's like her campaign donor, one of them, and he wrote this song for it. It's just so extremely upsetting. so bad. The anti-hype train, it plays when there are no donos. Yeah, here's how it's going to work, chat. I'm just going to play that tune until I get the dono, the dono goal of the day, yeah? That's how we're going to do it now, yeah? It's a different kind of incentive, yeah? Do you want the suffering to end, or do you want it to continue? You know, the choice is yours. Sub off Twitch. I just need 2 more. I just need to. No, I would never do that. I would never do that. I'm not that cruel. I promise. Didn't know. Hey, Middle Earth Marxist. Didn't know the Koch brother had a bad cover band. Yeah, basically. We tried the carrot. It's time for the stick. Hello, Kaylin. Don't worry. It's over. You came just in time to miss the punishment. I was punishing the chat for not giving me enough money. It's not true. That's not what I was doing. Yeah, just like talking about this Nikki Haley thing where she was saying that like youths who watch TikTok are 17% more anti-Semitic. Like the unit for anti-Semitism has just like gone up, just completely gone up.
How long do you need to watch TikTok to be like 100%?
Right?
Ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah, the longer you watch TikTok, the anti-Semitism meter just like keeps going like just all the way up.
But like I also just like I remember watching that and then going and looking up. I'm like, where did she get this number? Because it's so specific. No idea. But regardless, she said it, and it's funny. I mean, it does sound funny and ridiculous, but this is becoming a serious and has been a serious accusation. Of course, this
right, Morgan.
You know, on top of her just trying to like use this is her trying to use the genocide in Gaza as a way to bring up the anti-China stuff, right? Because at the end of the day, the war on TikTok, as you have and others have pointed out, is part of this tech war with China. This like
that's how it works, Kaylin. You download anti-Semitism from TikTok
you have a
directly into your brain.
Real attempt before the House, the House and Congress, to try to ban TikTok. Biden apparently is saying he wants to sign the House ban on TikTok. So I'm curious if you could, you know.
Gotta love that bipartisanism.
What are your thoughts on the idea?
Those bipartisan bills going through Congress. Gotta love it, chat. Gotta fucking love those bipartisan bills.
Banning TikTok. What is that actually about? Because I don't think they really believe that it makes, you know, you 17% more anti-Semitic for every 30 minutes you watch it.
Yeah, no, I mean, the whole rhetoric around TikTok has been insane from the get-go. So, so first of all, the common accusation against TikTok, which is reflected in what Nikki Haley says, is that there is some sort
of... Abundance says, I prefer gay partisan bills. China. In this stream, we do bisexual supremacy. I'm sorry, but it was proved, and I'm gonna prove it to you. The bisexuals are winning, right? They're winning. We're winning. And I'm always saying this, and I'm gonna prove it to you right now because there was a graph. Wait. Just give me a minute. I'm gonna find it. Hold up. I've nearly found it, I promise. No, it's definitely it's a real thing. It's a real thing. Yes, I found it. Chat, I fucking found it. Here we go. That's fucking right. Bisexual dominance. It's coming. There you go. LGBTQ people who consider themselves bisexual outnumber any other category among Gen Z, Millennials, and Gen X. I'm always saying this. I'm always fucking saying this. Hell yeah. Fucking let's go. Anyway, there we go. A viral tripathy. How are you doing? Welcome to the stream. Congrats, Mr. Putin, on winning another tightly contested election. Is that what has been going on today? Okay. Gotcha.
to brainwash Americans via TikTok. And in order to illustrate this, they said China has their own version of TikTok called Douyin, and the content is completely different. And it's true they have their own version of TikTok, and then they launched TikTok.
This bisexual Palestine, that's right.
For the international market. And it's true that Douyin is under a lot of...
Riot Girl Callie says, I've become 17% more bisexual by watching Twitch. That's a good one.
Chinese legislation that puts, as China does with social media, a lot of restrictions on content. Like they have plenty of laws, even on the amount of time kids can watch the thing and so on. All in all, those are, a lot of common sense legislation in order to avoid that, kids spend too much time on social media, avoid that they see, harmful content and so on and so forth. But there is absolutely nothing that prevents US legislators from taking the exact same...
Listen, if people are like, seriously saying things like, I don't watch TikTok because it's Chinese, right? Which is what Kaylin.com just said in the chat, that someone in her class said that. They're missing out on absolutely phenomenal things. Like this video of Kim Gordon from Sonic Youth telling us what's in her bag.
Hi, I'm Kim Gordon, and this is what's in my bag. Oh, phone. Lip moisturizer. Hand cream. Car keys. Lipstick.
Like, why would you want to miss this, chat?
Thistle's sunglasses. Wallet.
What you could do is...
Mask.
You could be racist.
Inhaler.
And miss out on amazing content like this.
Earbuds.
Or you could not be racist.
Earplugs.
And you could watch Kim Gordon do What's in My Bag.
Matches from Bacaro, New York City.
That's fucking right.
Eye drops.
She's slaying so hard. You know that Kim Gordon's got eye drops in her bag because she has friends that like don't vibe with people getting stoned, and she gets stoned literally all day every day, so she has those eye drops for the fucking red eye. I used to know people like that. I used to hang out with people like that when I was a big stoner, and they would like have eye drops with them, so they could just like, when they needed to go home and like see parents, they would just be like, boom, get fucking absolutely baked as fuck, and then just put some eye drops in. Anyway, there you go. That's what you're missing out on. Yeah, there's some sick ass bass grooves in that bag. That's right.
Legislation that China has on Douyin and applying them to TikTok. Like they can.
That's fair enough, Borderella. I get it.
Would comply. They've repeatedly said so.
Every time you say poggers, it makes you 0.4% more buy. It's true. That's why I'm always saying poggers.
The US, saying please, legislators.
You had anti-red eye drops in case you had a breakdown. Oh, gobs.
If you want store servers in the US, we will make our
that's pretty based.
Transparent to a trusted third party, which is, if I remember correctly, Oracle, so that you know exactly what's in our code at any given moment in time. They gave backdoors to the FBI and so on and so forth. But still, the US wants to, they're doing this new legislation to, if you look, it's not so much an attempt to ban them as it is an attempt to steal the campaign. what
Yeah.
you're saying
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
that
They want to buy it. They want ByteDance to sell it, right? We spoke about this on Red Planet last night. They're like, okay, ByteDance, if you don't sell it, we're gonna ban it. And so they just want to be able to like control it. So it's just gonna be the enshittification of another social media platform, right? That's all it's gonna be. It's gonna end up being like Twitter. But TikTok already has its own fair share of conservative bullshit on there. You know what I mean? Like this is the absurd thing about it. Like people make out that TikTok is this like super left-wing, progressive kind of thing. And it's like, yeah, I've seen content on there that's like super left-wing and progressive, but that stuff kind of still exists on Twitter, because Elon Musk is finding out after fucking around so much that actually you can't just ban everyone from Twitter that you don't like, because you'll end up banning everyone and then no advertisers will want to work with you and then you won't make any money and then you're hemorrhaging a bunch of fucking cash into this shit social media app that no one's fucking using, and people are still like people are still dropping off the user base for it. It's just absolutely phenomenal. I'd love to know some numbers actually as to like where Twitter is at with like users right now. They want to turn TikTok into Twitter. I thought it was a xenophobia thing. No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is it's gonna end up like that, because there is a lot of anti-imperialist rhetoric on TikTok, right? No, absolutely. It's a control thing because videos of Haza are getting out and making the youths mad. Yeah. More of a money thing? No, it's going to be both. It's going to be both, right? There are like vile billionaires who want to buy TikTok so that they can make a bunch of money out of it and also turn it into their ruling class platform where only the things that they can talk about are allowed, right? And they want to control TikTok's magical anti-Semitic capabilities. That's right. I've seen a lot of leftist content blocked and removed on TikTok. Yeah, I had like this is the thing, like they act like it's just like a free for all, and Hamas are all they're all over TikTok. They're just posting all their videos all over TikTok all the time. I did a fucking video that got removed for a community guidelines violation, saying that I was promoting hate speech when I was literally, it was a clip of this stream where I was reacting to a Moroccan Jewish woman who went to Israel on birthright and was talking about how they do like, what do they call it? Psychological abuse, you know? To Jewish people to make them like come and settle on Palestinian land and fucking kill Palestinians, you know. It was literally that, and it got removed for being like anti-Semitic, like hate speech kind of thing. So it's incredibly hilarious that they claim that it's doing anything like what they say they're doing, but at the same time, there's just enough stuff getting through on TikTok that they're like, no, we can't be having that. We can't be having that. You can't deny TikTok has been a big radicalizing force in people learning about what's actually going on in Gaza. There was a huge movement on TikTok for Palestine and the struggle of Palestinians, and it's still ongoing. We're just gonna see, I guess, leftists move towards more like better platforms, like for example Blue Sky. Blue Sky's not perfect, but it's pretty good. I don't know, maybe there'll be like a different version of TikTok. Maybe people will start using Instagram Reels more or something, but I can't imagine Meta being a good company for not censoring. Although, to be fair, actually, the videos that I've put on TikTok, I've actually also put on my Instagram Reels, and they've not been taken down. I might have been shadow banned, possibly, but they seem to have done just as good or nearly as good kind of thing. They've got banned on TikTok twice. Yeah, this is what I mean. They'll just ban whole fucking accounts as well, you know? TikTok was one of the things that cemented my opinions about disability justice, the medical system in the States being a shambles. Yeah, there's so much good stuff on there. You know, it's a really, really good platform. I think it's good. It's done more good than it's done bad, I think. Personally, that's my personal opinion. I'm willing to change that opinion, though. I did a video about TikTok Live. Go watch my video about TikTok Live. I talk a little bit about that there.
Like the ByteDance, the mother company in China, needs to sell TikTok to, I guess, an American player in order for TikTok to survive in the US. So it's basically
Resurrect Vine under another name. Well, TikTok is just Vine.
Saying you're in my neighborhood.
Literally just Vine.
Own your I don't know, restaurant or whatever in order for you to remain there.
Apart from Vine was like what, 6 seconds? It had to be like 6 seconds or something.
We destroy you. So I think it's not so much concerns about actual content because that could be solved easily. It's more a concern about money, about capital, about controlling.
Some old men complained about it all being videos of young girls dancing. Yeah, I mean, that's just them. That's just them looking for videos of young girls dancing, right? That's just them being fucking sex perverts on fucking TikTok. That's all that is.
Controlling the capital behind TikTok so that they keep making money and dominate the tech sector outside China.
My wife is threatening me with divorce because all I can see on TikTok are videos of young women dancing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's really just like a playing really unfair while complaining. It's projecting it all onto China at the same time. And since we're on the subject of China, I'm curious, is this genocide in Gaza a huge topic in China? Do people care, one way or another? I mean, their country isn't really involved. So I imagine it's not like in the US, right? Like it's, there's no one who's going to go protest the Chinese government's policies on Gaza. But is it in the news? Is it something that people discuss? Because it must be one of those things that, at the very least, that's like, wow, the US is willing to support like this, psychotic behavior in Israel.
Yeah. I mean, China has always been extremely pro-Palestinian ever since Mao. Even at the time Mao was arming the Palestinians, and he compared it many times to the Taiwan issue. He saw both as very similar. Today it's the same thing. China is also very pro-Palestinian, and the people as well. They see it basically through the colonial prism, which is basically Israel as a colonial entity trying to steal the Palestinians' land and enact ethnic cleansing and genocide on them. So I think the support on the Israeli side is basically non-existent in China, or an extremely small minority.
Yeah, I just really quickly want to share this. I don't know if you saw this. This is from a few months back, but I was just reminded of it because of what you're saying.
Oh my God, I fucking hate the New York Times so much, man. It's easily just like the worst fucking paper of all time. As China looks to broker Gaza peace, anti-Semitism surges online. Jesus fucking Christ. I hope I can visit China someday, ride some rail, see multiple provinces in so little time, eat hella Szechuan food. You know what? Like, I'm hoping I can go on holiday this year. I might not be able to afford to go to China, but I am like, very excited. Anabundance says parallels between Taiwan and Palestine at this point in time are a mind bender. Like, what do you mean? Like people making parallels between them?
Which is that, there's a very pro-Palestine sentiment in China. The New York Times back in, I'm sorry, what's the date on this? This is back in October, so not even a month into the genocide yet. And for those who are just...
I suspect China understands that part of Israel's movements are to block the Belt and Road Initiative for the US. I mean, did you not hear what he just said? He said that they've been pro-Palestine since Mao. The Belt and Road Initiative wasn't, like, happening under Mao.
Listening, the headline was, as China looks to broker Gaza peace, anti-Semitism surges online. And then it goes on to say, China's state-run media has blamed the United States for the deepening crisis while perpetuating tropes of Jewish control of American politics.
Fucking incredible, man. Incredible.
in this New York Times piece to go on to basically accuse China of spreading anti-Semitism, essentially because people online were disgusted by Israel's behavior in Gaza. So I'm not even going to go through the piece, but this just came to mind. I haven't really seen the U.S. media try to do this again, at least not anytime recently. But yeah, I'm just curious your quick thoughts on the. You might have remembered this piece, Arnaud, from back in.
Yeah, I remember this piece, and if I remember correctly, it was already a while back. It's the usual thing. It was accusing China of anti-Semitism when it was just a critique of Israeli policies, which again has nothing to do with anti-Semitism. So yeah, it's basically the usual stuff.
But also what makes me laugh about this is like, there's always this attempt in the West to try to take this sort of anti-Semitism that has a very European history, actually, like Nazi not like the historically, traditionally, the sort of Nazi style anti-Semitism, and then project it onto these countries that have no history of that, like China, for example. It's just it's just so insane. But
actually, China has a very completely different history.
Why is the world so obsessed with the Middle East? Well, the world isn't obsessed with the Middle East. Imperialist capitalists are obsessed with the Middle East because they have a lot of natural resources that they can extract wealth from through imperialist conquest. That's why the US in particular is obsessed with the Middle East. Most other people are obsessed, as you put it, with the Middle East because they see the imperialism taking place there and note the human rights abuses and genocides that come with that. I'm
the grandson of a Holocaust Jewish survivor myself, so I got very interested in that. And it's not many people know that, but during the Holocaust, the only country in the world that had its port wide open to Jews was China, Shanghai. So yeah, it's the complete opposite, right? It's the only country in the world that was a safe harbor for Jews during the Holocaust. Even the US famously was rejecting Jewish refugees during the Second World War.
That's pretty based, Three Geese. Pretty based.
And funnily, many
Patooey indeed.
Many Jews grew up in Shanghai during that time period, and then moved to the US. And I think that was the case of one secretary of the Treasury, Blumenthal, if I remember correctly, who actually spoke fluent Shanghai dialect as a result. So yeah, that's unknown history.
That makes it even more outrageous to have an America's paper of record to be making such an outlandish accusation. Because when we do think about,
well, I mean, it's the New York Times that have recently been exposed as having someone who never wrote an article before in their entire lives, is literally not a journalist, but they worked in the IDF, they served in the IDF to write an article about Hamas definitely uses mass rape as a weapon in their liberation attempts of October the 7th and in other scenarios that have just been completely fucking debunked by every single investigation into it. And the article's just still up there. So, that's the New York Times, isn't it?
It wasn't just the US that turned Jewish refugees away. It was also the UK, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right.
So yeah, then to have this country that actually treated them well and took them in during a time when they were being persecuted in the so-called civilized world, to then go and take this anti-Semitic brush just because they're not aligning with a genocide, is actually quite infuriating. To stay on the topic of China,
it's always been that way. Yeah, that's right, Nonny Moose. Yeah,
I'd like to point out, and then I'd like your thoughts on, because especially when it comes to the issue of sanctions, this is something you followed particularly closely, especially with regard to the sanctions on Russia. But when we talk about the so-called resistance axis in the Middle East, that's led by Iran and then is a collection of these various popular military movements across the region, in Iraq, Lebanon, and obviously in Palestine itself. This kind of resistance, at this scale really wouldn't be possible without China as this kind of economic counterweight to the US. And what I mean by that is that the resistance axis receives funding, obviously, in arms from Iran specifically. This is possible because of China, China's existence as an economic powerhouse that refuses to abide by US sanctions on Iran has allowed the Iranian economy to not just survive, but in many ways thrive, to access goods and capital that it otherwise couldn't due to the suffocation of US sanctions. And I think we could say the same for Russia's role when it comes to Iran as well in many ways. That's not to say that China and Russia are solely or even directly
Why do the US keep inviting 9/11?
responsible for these armed resistance movements on the ground across the Middle East. Just that.
I mean, at the end of the day, I know you might have been a little jocular there, but these are the kind of things that you can only really expect to happen, right? If you are constantly oppressing people all over the world, you're going to invite resistance. That's just revolutionary optimism. It's a science, right? It's a science. You will, if you oppress a people, whether they're working class people, whether they're marginalized in whatever, doesn't matter what kind of people they are. If you oppress a people, they will resist. It's just how shit works, right? Yeah. Me reaping, me sowing, etc., etc. Yeah. Yeah.
In this moment in history, their existence and ability to have relationships, economic relationships that kind of like supersede US sanctions, have allowed for an effective military resistance, specifically in the Middle East, that attacks imperialist interests, the likes of which this region in particular has never had. So
it's also sad. Well, yeah, it's also very hope inspiring though. Not what the US is doing, but the way that a lot of people are being able to see what's actually going on now. There was a tweet earlier that I saw that I think was really, really good, and I can't remember exactly what it said. I was supposed to bookmark it and read it earlier, but it essentially said that like TikTok being banned is not really going to do much because most people who they didn't want to be, educated about particularly what's going on in Palestine have already been educated, and now are seeing that actually the US wants to take that away, right? So they're falling all over themselves to remove this aspect of education from people that's been politicizing people. It's politicized a lot of people who weren't previously politicized. There's been lots of people that I've spoken to at marches that have just been like, oh, I didn't know anything about that. And oh, I didn't know that that's how things were going down. And oh, I didn't know that that was the case. And it's like, they're going to marches, they're meeting people who are like super politicized and they're learning about this stuff, they're being educated. It's too late. It's too late. Yeah, there's always Lost Futures videos on the history of Zionism. Like, I did that 1 5-hour fucking stream about it. You know what I mean? This is it. This is it. So, that's the fucking end of it, isn't it?
So I'm just curious your thoughts on what this means for this kind of emerging multipolar world that we often talk about as we witness this gradual decline in Western hegemony.
Yeah, that's right, Midler Marxist.
I think
won't someone rid me of this turbulent platform?
China, Russia's recovery as a great power. By the way, Russia's ability to...
The US has lobbyists influencing foreign policy. Yeah, well, most countries in the imperial core do, because we exist in hyper-capitalism. Yeah, where it's like, if you have the most money, you can corrupt the most governments, and most companies that have the most money are weapons manufacturers, and they want to corrupt the most government, It's one of them, right? I'm gonna need to bring a Israel flag with red bloody handprints to a demo, but I don't know, man. People do crazy stuff. Well, what would that represent? I don't know what that would represent. Thing I'm hoping that people who are more on TikTok doing right now is making connections off that platform so they could continue their organizing work in other places. Yeah, no, they will be. Yeah, like this is a thing that is just simply gonna be happening and has already happened. And at the very least, people have been educated and politicized about Palestine and what's going on in Palestine, you know? Blood on the Israeli government's hands. Yeah, I just think taking like an Israeli flag in any form to a pro-Palestine protest is probably a bad call, right? Even if it's got like bloody handprints on it or something. I don't know, maybe make a banner instead. A banner would probably be a better way of doing it, you know what I mean? Yeah, right? Yeah.
Defeat the sanctions here during the war in Ukraine is also largely thanks to China's power as an economy today. Like if China was the country that it was 30 years ago, it absolutely wouldn't be possible. So yeah, the rise of China and Russia's recovery as a great power has made the world multipolar. Unipolarity is well and truly over, but it will actually make the world quite unstable, I'm afraid, until a new equilibrium is found. Looking back at history for teachings about the present, I was reading recently the fantastic book, which you must know, The Jakarta Method by
Jakarta Method.
About what happened during the Cold War, which, for many countries wasn't cold at all. It's called the Jakarta Method because during the Cold War, there was a very progressive government in Indonesia, led by a guy called Suharto. He had communists in his government, and he was very left-leaning. He launched under him was launched the Bandung movement, which was famously third world countries sort of gathering together on trying to promote a more egalitarian world where they would have equal rights, equal power than the first world and the second world. And it was not to be, unfortunately, because then the US backed the Indonesian military, who basically did a coup in the country. And as soon as they got power, they executed all the communists, leading to, I think, close to 1 million killings in the country.
Same story in many countries.
And then, the military dictator, Sukarno, stayed in power during the following 30 years and was one of the most corrupt regimes anywhere on earth. And it's called the Jakarta Method because the same method was then used, sort of inspired by this great example of the US sort of winning over Indonesia. They started to apply the same formula in many different countries around the world. I think in the book he found 15 or so examples of very similar pattern. Famously in South America, like Chile with Allende and Pinochet and so on and so forth. So to me, the big danger of the present period is this, where because we have this competition between poles emerging, one pole, I suspect is going to be the US pole, will go to extreme length, even to the length of genocide, as we're seeing in Gaza, sadly, in order to keep countries, regions on each side of the ledger. So we're in for a period of a lot of instability, and it will take immense statecraft shift from the other side to try to navigate that and come out. I wouldn't say the winners, because I don't want. That's the dynamic that shouldn't happen. We don't want one camp to win over another. We want, at the end, everyone to emerge on the side of sanity, international law, morality, and so on and so forth.
This guy's pretty good, but he's placing a lot of onus on international law, which we've we've found out is not that good. As we've it's not that effective. Yeah, I mean, pretty interesting geopolitical. That gets to like a certain point with, I guess you could call them like economist wonks, geopolitics wonks, who are like based on economy and all that kind of stuff, where they just have very little material analysis and understanding that a revolution has to come from the working class, and it has to be a model where you build dual power, where we don't have to rely on governments. And yeah, finance pervert, innit? Do you know what I mean? I don't think he's a finance pervert. He doesn't strike me like that. He doesn't strike me as that particularly, but he's talking a lot about like international law, morality. It's a little bit of that, innit? Do you know what I mean? But also somehow not, because he's on Breakthrough News and he's talking about the decline of the empire and stuff. It's like if you're an anti-imperialist but also like a bit of a lib, like maybe a sock dem kind of thing. You know what I mean? It's almost like international law is insufficient because the countries that build it are corrupted by capital and imperialism. Yeah. A great scholar once said, "Economist, log off." That's right. That's fucking right.
So. Yeah, hopefully, let's see.
I mean, yes, ideally, we of course.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like this is just what it amounts to. Like any kind of analysis that they have just kind of amounts to like, hopefully, let's see. Like, no, it will happen. Like a world like that will exist. Like whether it's in the same form now, in terms of like, I don't know. Just how like humanity exists now, or in a future like post climate change or whatever, it will exist. It's just it's not about like hopefully let's see. We got that like liberal capitalist realism brain on the go kind of thing.
But what we're seeing is that you talk about this like rules based order versus international law. I mean, it looks as though even when we talk about the rules based order, what does that mean? I mean, it's what the Americans have really created to use as a weapon against to sort of control the world by their rules, but they still had this, at least pretense of certain things that they followed. But all of that, they're allowing all of that to be destroyed with their support for what the Israelis are doing in Gaza. I mean, the Israelis are just like openly committing a genocide. They're killing UN workers, right, and torturing UN workers. They're killing journalists. They're killing entire families. They're starving a population on purpose, and they're saying they're doing it. They're allowing their soldiers to post the most disturbing footage of their crimes because they're proud of them. They are, I mean, we could sit here and do a whole show about what the Israelis have done, but they're essentially destroying the entire so-called rules-based order, or at least all of the fake things that it claimed to represent. So my question for you is, why do you think the US and Europeans are willing to ruin this thing that they built, all to protect Israel's ability to continue to carry out a genocide?
Okay, the easy answer to this is capital, right? The easy answer to this is capital. If he doesn't say it's capitalism, it's money, there's a monetary incentive, there's material gains to be made by genociding a population, creating a society where control and order exist, and you can use that to expand out into other territories and therefore claim wealth and extract wealth and export labor there by creating an underclass and stuff like that. Like that's the materialist power dynamic analysis that's correct, right? So if he doesn't come out with that, and he's not got a lot of time, so hopefully he does come out with that, then he's a bit of a wonk, innit?
Aside.
I mean, the first question is Israel destroying the rules-based order or revealing it?
Yeah, well, yeah, pretty good answer. I quite like that. That was pretty good. But it could have been worse. It could have been Novara Media. So there you go. Hey, Carpe Pax, how's it going? Welcome in. So, everybody please go follow... Oh, why did that happen? Don't follow Caitlin's. Don't follow whoever that person is. Don't do that. I wasn't shouting that person out. I was trying to shout out Carpe Pax. Go follow Carpe Pax. How you doing, buddy? What did Novara do? Well, they're just extremely liberal, aren't they? They're just extremely fucking liberal, and they just do vibes-based liberal politics. Anyway. So, that was pretty good. Go check out Breakthrough News Chat. There's a bit more of anti-imperialist stuff that I want to go through. This is a shorter video from Kerno Damo, who we've had a little bit of on the stream before. But just before I play this video, I'm gonna jump off and go use the toilet. Make sure that you take your meds, stretch your legs, use the bathroom yourself, get yourself a snack. We've been here for some time. I'll be back in a little tick. Don't go nowhere. He's a baby boy. Tell him, baby boy. I love you, Dad. He's like, let me down. Let me down, you little shit. I love you until you pick me up. Right, where are we at? Chat, listen. Listen. We are 3 hours into the stream, and we've had some good donos. I'm happy with the donos that we've had. But I need more. I need more money. I need more money to survive. That's how it works. If you didn't know, this is my full-time job. It's my main source of income. If you like what you're watching, if you've laughed, if you've had fun, if you've learned something, please consider donating to my PayPal to help me pay my bills, my rent, eat, take myself out on little dates, all that kind of stuff. It means that I can continue streaming, and it is my job, and I like it very much, and it's very good. In order to hit my daily dono goal, I only need 2 £10 donos or 4 £5 donos, and that will mean that I have hit the £50 dono goal. So please consider doing so. I asked you to sub off Twitch because Twitch is a terrible platform. It bans people for talking about Palestine. It says that the terrorists and all that they're doing is literally talking about an indigenous people wanting to be liberated. They've also done a lot of bad stuff with misogyny and racism in the past as well. So you got that to consider, and also YouTube is not much better. So please consider subbing off Twitch. I would only ask you to donate the same amount that you would do by using a sub on Twitch, which would be £5 or $5 or however much it is in your country of residence. And yeah, that would mean that it means 100% of the dono comes to me, your boy, Donkus Jonkers, and 50% doesn't go to a terrible platform that is very bad and does what it is supposed to do very badly. So please consider subbing off Twitch. Thank you very much. Dono unto others, etc. I don't know what that means particularly, but yeah, give me money. If that's what that means, yeah, give me money. Right, we're going to watch this video from Kerno Demo, who we've been watching recently. He's a new sort of favorite. Well, not favorite, but, you know, he's a new lefty content creator that we've discovered. So please go show him some love. I'm going to pin the video to the top of both Twitch and YouTube chats. Please go and like, comment, subscribe, help out our lefty content creator friends. Watch the video in a muted tab alongside the stream. And we're going to listen to what Damo's got to say about the Houthis. Houthis' warnings go unheeded in Red Sea with fatal consequences. This was 5 days ago. Missed this last week, so we're going to cover it today. Let's hear what Kerno Damo's got to say about the Houthis in the Red Sea.
Right, so following up from the sinking of the British cargo ship, the Ruby Mar, last week the first recorded fatalities in a Houthi missile strike on shipping were reported as a result of their ongoing blockade of the Red Sea, occurring as they struck another ship, the cargo vessel MV True Confidence, which killed 3 sailors and injured 4 more. Naturally, the condemnation has come thick and fast from the West, hypocritical as ever, since Western-backed strikes in the Red Sea have so far seen the deaths of 11 Houthis, not counting those killed in US and UK strikes on the Yemeni mainland, which led to the US and UK, of course, getting added to the shipping block list of the Houthis through the Red Sea. These deaths were utterly preventable, though, not just because ending the Israeli onslaught and genocide in Gaza will see the blockade end, but also because it has been made abundantly clear to the US and UK and all Israeli-bound shipping from wherever that they will not be allowed to pass. The warnings were given, even in this instance, not to try and get through the Red Sea because they will be attacked. Yemen, the Houthis are right now being pointed at and accused of interfering in global maritime law. But on the other hand, they are actually upholding humanitarian and human rights laws that the West, the UK and US particularly, both facing days in The Hague, courtesy of the likes of South Africa and Nicaragua, are not. It's time more focus was spent on stopping Israel than stopping Yemen, because more lives will be saved all around that way.
Very true.
What this really exposes is that human life really isn't anywhere close to the top of the agenda here.
Yeah.
Right, so the Houthis' attacks have sadly now, despite weeks of successful actions not resulting in the loss of any human life, now resulted in the deaths of 3 sailors, apparently on the Barbados-flagged, Liberian-registered bulk carrier True Confidence, which was bound for Jeddah in Saudi Arabia on the Red Sea coast, having come from China. Knowing US shipping traffic is being blocked by Yemen right now, quite why this ship had to go to Jeddah via the Red Sea and not dock alternatively at another port of Saudi Arabia's on the Persian Gulf coast, I don't know. Perhaps they feared Iranian issues, that side of things. But Yemen are far more vociferous in their blockading, and it isn't like the vessel wasn't warned when it reached the Gulf of Aden, or beforehand, for that matter. Now, the True Confidence is a Barbados-flagged, Liberian-registered vessel, which is what we were told. It was bound for Saudi Arabia. So why was it attacked? It wasn't Israeli-bound. It isn't a UK or US vessel. So why was it targeted? Why was it on Yemen's block list? You might have noted that the block list also extends to Israel-affiliated shipping. And the MV True Confidence was, until very, very recently, literally days prior to this strike, owned by Oak Tree Capital, a US global asset management firm. So US owned. Certainly still was when it left China, it would appear. An asset company owned itself by US Democrat Party donor Howard Marks, key funder of Hillary Clinton's presidential
So they're just, you know, desperate to be like, oh, the Houthis are they're just targeting random ships. It doesn't mean anything anymore. But actually, they're fucking smart as fuck. And they know exactly where every fucking ship that passes through the Red Sea is serving. And yeah, it's just one of these like awful situations where the Houthis are doing some fucking based shit. They're doing some incredibly based shit. And the West is just like, kill them all. Let's just bomb Yemen. Bomb the fuck out of Yemen. Even though the people there have been starving thanks to imperialist agendas for fucking decades. Well, maybe not decades. Maybe about a decade.
Campaign in 2016. And of the assets that Oaktree manage, a large proportion of them are allegedly Israeli assets.
Mm-hmm.
So what people fixate on this being a clear sign of Houthis attacking ships not on their block list, that isn't actually true. Did they change the ownership of this vessel partway through the journey? Was this ownership changed to get it through the Red Sea and then change ownership back afterwards? Was it a bit of a cunning plan? The new owners are the Liberian company True Confidence Shipping, not too on the nose, and operated by Greek-based 3rd January Maritime. Neither company having much by way of a history after a cursory search online. Can't find out very much about either company. So who knows?
And you know, it's very like possible that they just decided to create companies randomly. Like, I think people need to understand, right? If you're watching this stream and you have no sort of experience of like, what it's like to set up as a self-employed person or to set up like a business in places like the UK or wherever. I don't know what it's like in Liberia. I don't know what it's like in Greece, but I imagine it's quite similar because most countries kind of copy the way the US and the UK does stuff. Europe as well. In the UK, it's as simple as like just fucking filling in some forms, right? And if you've got the right person to do it, pay them enough money, they'll just do it for you and they'll just set up a company. And a lot of companies operate in that way where they'll have their main base of operations, but then have what's called a shell company, sort of protecting it for various reasons, most likely because they're doing funny shit with avoiding tax and all that kind of nonsense. But, you know, you could just set up a company and operate a previous company's fucking finances through that other company fairly fucking simply. It's fairly straightforward. But, of course, you know, people who have to work for a living don't have the time or the resources to be able to do that, or to be able to understand that you can just do that and you can just fuck around with with shit like that. It's just such a joke, honestly. When I realized how simple it is to actually, you know, set up as self-employed, I was like, this country's a joke. It's just a joke. You just fill in a form and it's done. There's nothing special about it. You don't get inspected. You don't have someone from HMRC come round and like look at all your filing history and all that stuff. It's just like, yeah, you just do it. And that's the end of it. Then you just, you know, you're expected to do tax returns every year. That's the only kind of thing that you have to do. So yeah, it's just a bit of a joke.
Perhaps that is why the Houthis decided to tell this ship to turn away, and when it did it ignore them? But we know what happened next. Continuing to ignore the Houthis is not going to make the Red Sea more passable, and nor will, as this instance looks like, changing ownership partway through a journey to try and fool them. The change has happened so recently many maritime databases hadn't updated it yet, because that won't work either. Whether the sale is genuine and true or not, the optics to a suspicious person are what they are. And I dare say that is how the Houthis have taken this. Are these honestly the lengths some will go to for the sake of bloody Israel and excusing what they're doing? Well, the Houthis are not going to be joining that school of thought now or ever, and as I pointed out for multiple reasons in previous Houthi videos that I've made, they won't stop, and they can't be stopped by force. Not given who backs them, not given their never give up, never surrender attitudes, and their determination to stand up for and uphold international humanitarian law, which is actually what their actions are there doing.
Yeah.
Aside from this latest shipping incident, drone strikes by the Houthis have increased, having now targeted 61 ships with 96 drones.
I'm begging people to stop buying gaming chairs. They look ridiculous and they're bad for your back. Yeah, I don't know much about gaming chairs. I never wanted to get like a gaming chair like this. This is my most recent chair. I bought it during lockdown because I had a pretty decent job and I was getting a lot of dough. And I just got it because it was like, yeah, this is like kind of good for your back. And I've not really had much back problems while sitting in this chair. I've never had a gaming chair, so I don't know anything about that shit, but I've just always gone for like standard office chairs. You're just supposed to have a chair where you can, I mean, I say this, but I'm sat with my legs up on the leaning back on the desk at the moment, but yeah, no, I've honestly, like, you're supposed to just have, like, you know, a chair that you can have a posture with in it. You can, like, have armrests and use those armrests to, like, float above a keyboard so you don't get carpal tunnel, and you're supposed to be able to put your feet on the ground and you can hold yourself up with your back, right? That's the most of it. Yeah, you know.
Missile attacks over the last 5 months. It's been reported today in the Jerusalem Post.
Some people are sadly gamers, you know.
Make it the second vessel the Houthis have now sank, though I haven't found another source to corroborate that at time of writing. Now the Post.
Best you can do is troll Craigslist for high-end office chairs from company shutdowns.
Ooh! Understand why I want corroborating evidence.
Or you could just go to a company that's shutting down and be like, "Are you getting rid of your office chairs? Let me have one." You know, there's a nice little djmuel trick for you that he's never actually done in real life. So success may vary with that one.
Evidence from another source for one, but it's also not a source I pay particular attention to in and of itself any other time either. However, it does give an idea of how the right wing would like to see the Houthis dealt with, following more drone attacks, more ship attacks, and promises of more to come. Because the one thing you can be assured of by such narratives is that telling Israel to stop.
Get the dumpsters out the back. Hey, Fighter Jet, how are you doing? Good to see you.
Agenda to stop this. Instead, they would prefer to eradicate the Houthis as one option. Good luck. Nobody who has ever tried, and plenty have ever managed to do so. And it would likely bring
taking them straight out of dumpsters.
Role if anybody did try to reach up the ante against them, making matches.
Yeah, don't do that. It's illegal and wrong. It's bad. You know?
In the Middle East, even more unstable. Or to find a way to force them into adhering to international maritime law instead. Well, they've chosen humanitarian law and human rights and the right to life over maritime law. Right now in the Red Sea, the two are not mutually possible whilst Israel continues its genocide.
Yeah.
The Houthis have chosen human life over economic impacts, as any right-thinking, sensible, sane person should and would. Unfortunately, too many countries on this planet seem to be led by people who believe otherwise. It's telling that right-wingers in the West think otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
The Houthis will not stop, not until Israel stops. That's what they've said from the beginning. The rest of the world need to get real, or more avoidable lives in the Red Sea are going to end up being lost. Meanwhile, of course, Joe Biden is busy building a port in the Mediterranean on the Gaza coast, isn't he? Where they've never been allowed to have one before. And Israel have also been building a road all the way across Gaza too. Is that port really for aid? Because I don't think so. And will that road end up meeting that port? Also coincidentally, for some nefarious reason. A port in Gaza that will be a military port and nobody will be able to oversee, with a road leading straight across Gaza, straight into Israel. Well, I can't imagine what sort of things they could transport that way that we wouldn't be able to see. Can you? Are you intrigued by this as well? You better watch this video recommendation next then. And I'll hopefully catch you on the next vid. Cheers, folks.
He's pretty good. He's pretty good, Damo. Bit of a fan of him, to be honest. Okay. We're going to move on from the anti-imperialist hour because it's been more than an hour. So, this is like an 18-minute video I was going to watch from Breakthrough News, but we'll watch this tomorrow because, yeah, it's pretty important. US force to remove sanctions on Zimbabwe. This is important global stuff. But today we are going to be remembering Rachel Corrie. There's a 20-minute Democracy Now! Segment about Rachel Corrie. If you don't know, it was 20 years ago, or 21 years ago, that Rachel Corrie, the American activist in Gaza, was crushed by an Israeli bulldozer in Rafah, actually, where most of the displaced people in Gaza are now based, thanks to Israel's genocide. Wikipedia'd this by chance, is that right? Well, there you go. We're on to the Free Palestine segment of the stream today. So yeah, everyone say hey, Big Amy. Hello, Big Amy. Good to see you. So current vid is going to be pinned at the top of the chat, so everyone can go and follow and enjoy Democracy Now! Very important that you do so. Pretty good reporting. Thank you very much for the follow. Fight, Roshan Fight. Welcome to the stream. How you doing? Replace that pinned message at the top there. Right. Excuse me. While you're having your break, I was still saying hi, Big Amy. Hell yeah. Let's fucking go. Let's fucking go. All right. It's Big Amy with the big news. Let's hear what she's got to say. Rachel Corrie. Fighter Jet, thank you so much. Fighter Jet just subbed at tier 1 for 6 months in advance. Subscribed for 58 months. Holy shit. Thank you so much, Fighter Jet. Really, really appreciate that. That's a huge amount of subs. I do appreciate subs still, despite obviously trying to encourage people to sub off Twitch, because subbing off Twitch does indeed mean that 100% of the dough that you send to me comes to me, your boy. Gotta lock it in. No, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. But yeah, absolutely. Thank you very, very much. I'm just trying to work out what that actually is. Be like $5 and half of that. So that's like, so that's basically like $15 essentially. Appreciate that. What the fuck just happened, dude? Okay, I gotta figure out what the cat just did.
Democracy Now! Democracy.
I'll be back in a sec.
The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. Saturday marked the 21st anniversary of the death of U.S. peace activist Rachel Corrie. She was crushed to death by an Israeli military bulldozer in Rafah on March 16, 2003, 3 days before the U.S. attacked Iraq. Rachel was 23 years old. She was an evergreen college student from Olympia, Washington. She went to Gaza with the International Solidarity Movement, which formed after Israel and the United States rejected a proposal by then UN High Commissioner for Human Rights Mary Robinson to place international human rights monitors in the occupied Palestinian territories. Rachel Corrie was crushed to death by a U.S. Caterpillar bulldozer that was run by the Israeli military. She'd been trying...
So, in case people don't know, the Israeli military, like, just basically use these bulldozers to fucking murder Palestinians wantonly all the time. There was an old lady who refused to move because the Israeli military wanted to bulldoze a house and build another one on top of it so a settler could live in it near Jerusalem. And they just buried her alive. They crushed the fucking house and buried her alive in the rubble of that house using one of these caterpillars. And because they get attacked so much, rightfully so, by people resisting this kind of horrific ethnic cleansing, they armor them. So they add steel plate into the sides and all that kind of shit. It's horrific. It's actually fucking horrific. Yeah, fuck Caterpillar, honestly. Fuck Caterpillar, fuck Israel, fuck the USA.
To prevent the demolition of the home of a Palestinian pharmacist in Rafah, near the border with Egypt. Eyewitnesses say she was wearing a fluorescent orange vest. She was in full view of the bulldozer's driver, as photographs show.
Yeah, they don't give a fuck.
In June 2003, the Israeli military concluded her death was, quote, an accident. Human rights groups
also spied on her parents. Yeah, I believe it. I believe it.
A year later, Colonel Lawrence Wilkerson, former Secretary of State Colin Powell's chief of staff, told Rachel's parents he did not consider the Israeli investigation credible, thorough, or transparent. Rachel's parents initiated lawsuits against Israel, the Israeli military, and the Caterpillar Corporation, But a U.S. federal appeals court ruled they could not sue the company.
Caterpillar sends them with the military adjustments. That's why they're on the BES, yeah.
Issue decided by the White House. In its ruling, the three-judge panel said the case could not go to court without implicitly questioning and even condemning U.S. foreign policy towards Israel. In 2015, the Israeli Supreme Court rejected an appeal from Rachel Corrie's parents after they'd sued the Israeli military Ministry of Defense for a symbolic $1 in damages and upheld a lower court's ruling that cleared the military of responsibility, saying Rachel's death had taken place in a, quote...
There are Caterpillar factories all over the UK, by the way. Just putting that out there. Listen, you know, I'm not saying anyone should do anything to them, but we can only really expect someone to engage in direct action sabotage against Caterpillar factories based in the UK if they're shipping these things to fucking Israel, right? You know?
War zone. In a minute, we'll be joined by Rachel's parents and one of her colleagues.
Holy shit, Rachel's parents are coming on the fucking video. Holy fuck.
But first, this
That's
is Rachel
wild.
Corrie in her own words from a documentary about her by Concord Media called Death of an Idealist.
I've been here for about
Yeah, that's right, Fighter Jet, yeah.
And this is definitely the most difficult situation
That's right, Carpe,
I've ever seen. In the time that I've been here, children have been shot and killed. On the 30th of January, the Israeli military bulldozed the two largest water wells.
Yeah, that's right, Roshan, yeah.
Destroying over half of Rafah's water supply. Every few days, if not every day, houses are demolished here.
More, we're joined in Olympia, Washington, by Rachel's parents, Cindy and Craig Corrie. After she was killed, they devoted
Oh no,
their
she'd be heartbroken, Fighter Jet,
to
for
what
sure.
Rachel Corrie lived and died for, and founded the nonprofit Rachel Corrie Foundation for Peace and Justice. Cindy's the foundation's president, Craig the treasurer. They've also gone on interfaith peace missions to Israel, Gaza, the West Bank. Also with us in London is Tom Dale, a writer who's worked in civilian protection, conflict analysis, and journalism in the Middle East. His new piece for Jacobin is headlined, Rachel Corrie Gave Her Life for Palestine. In 2002 and 2003, he too volunteered in Rafah with the International Solidarity Movement alongside Rachel. On March 16th, 2003, a little after 5 p.m. in Rafah, he witnessed this U.S.-made bulldozer run over Rachel. He held her hand as
He witnessed it and held her hand.
she lay dying on a gurney, and the
Holy
ambulance
fucking
taking
shit.
her to the hospital. Welcome to all of you. I want to begin with Tom. Describe that day, what motivated you both, and what motivated Rachel to stand there in front of this bulldozer with that fluorescent vest on as it came forward and crushed her.
So to give some context and background, the International Solidarity Movement group in Rafah at that time were mostly concerned to protest against and oppose the demolition of homes that were being carried out.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say anything. When I saw Tom, I was like, he's a striking man, right? His features are quite striking. His eyes are striking, right?
On the border with Rafah and Egypt. And there was no allegation in the overwhelming majority of cases that these homes were being demolished due to anything that the people who lived in...
Yeah, we were pretty young when it happened, yeah.
They were being demolished simply because Israel had decided that its soldiers based along that border strip wanted a tactical advantage, and that involved clearing a 300-metre strip full of family homes.
But again, it's like, tactical advantage for what? Genocide? That's literally it, right?
Overwhelming majority of which were refugees. And now,
tactical advantage for genocide.
Rachel was killed.
By doing more genocide.
Turned toward one of those homes, the home of Dr.
Who's that? What's that?
Love and Dollar Doos.
Oh, an abundance. Oh my God, thank you so much. Aren't you like a new chatter from today? An abundance with the Literally, first time chatter today with the £10 dono. Holy shit. Thank you so much for subbing off Twitch. Thank you so much for supporting the stream. Let's fucking go. We need one more £10 dono. One more £10 dono before we hit that daily dono goal. We can do it, chat. We can fucking do it. I believe in you. Long-time YouTube watcher, though. Listen, I love a YouTube viewer coming over to the Twitch channel. It's kind of like my entire dream. Yeah. I think it would be really cool if everybody from the Twitch stream watched my videos and everybody from the video watching gang watch my Twitch streams. That'd just be really cool. It's probably not going to happen, but anyway, I really appreciate you. Thank you so much for subbing off Twitch. Thank you so much for supporting the stream. One more £10 donor when we've hit the daily goal. I can't wait. We're going to do it, chat. I believe in you.
And Dr. Samir and his young family were friends of Rachel. She'd stayed with them. She'd lived with them. She knew them intimately. And she placed herself in between the bulldozer and the home, as we had done so many times before, and indeed as we had done earlier in that day. And what we had learned over the course of several months is that the bulldozer drivers were able to see us, were able to recognise what would be too far, and they were able to stop or withdraw at an appropriate moment. But on this case, the bulldozer driver just kept on going. Rachel was sort of forced to climb up a kind of roiling mound of earth in front of the bulldozer. I think you heard earlier, Cindy quoted saying that her head was above the top of the bulldozer blade. That's absolutely accurate. It's almost as if the driver would have been able to look her in the eye. But as he kept going, ultimately she lost her footing and she was sucked down into the earth and terribly, horrifically.
Yo, is that fighter jet with the £15?
The rest of the subs anyway. Kappa LUL.
Thank you so much for subbing off Twitch. Thank you so much for supporting the stream. Fighter jet, let's fucking go. We did it, chat. We did it. We hit the daily fucking goal. No more donos today. No thank you. I don't want any more donos today. Stop it. That's enough now. You've done more than enough. Really appreciate everybody supporting the stream. Really appreciate my wonderful chatters. That's you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. But if we do get one more donor, we'll have an unofficial hype train. And maybe we'll listen to some more Trouble One, but I don't know. I don't know. Just think about it, chat. It could happen. It could happen. Anyway, let's continue with this. Thank you so much, everybody.
Died. At that point, I ran to call for an ambulance. I learned then that Dr. Smith himself had seen the incident too, and had called the ambulance. And we had been living with these families, as I say. Rachel had been living with the Nasrallahs. I'd been living with other families along the border. And that was an expression of a really deep commitment to the principle of shared humanity. And Rachel took on the cause of those families as if that cause was her own. And she made that cause her own. And that's what motivated us to take that stand.
You quote Rachel's diary. It's absolutely amazing. She wrote this, of course, before her death, and she said she had a dream. Do you have it in front of you, or I'll read it?
Please do read it. Thank you.
Rachel wrote, she dreamed that she was falling, quote, falling to my death off of something dusty and smooth and crumbling like the cliffs in Utah. But I kept holding on, and when each new foothold or handle of rock broke, I reached out as I fell and grabbed a new one. I didn't have time to think about anything, just react, and I heard, I can't die, again and again in my head. If you can talk about...
That's wild. That's wild. She wrote that, like, before it happened. That's fucking crazy, man. There's a lot to be said about shit that we just don't understand about our brains and our bodies and the world and shit like that. There's like an element of fucking knowledge that people have about this shit. But people don't want to look into it, right? Because it's like, oh, well, you can't see the future. That's ridiculous. Oh, it's just blah, 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 blah. I don't know, man. I feel like she knew that she had, like, bit of a purpose that was super important, and then it might lead to her death. And maybe she couldn't tell the future. Maybe she just knew how dangerous it was for her to be doing what she was doing. I don't know.
What it means
she knew
to
she might
hear
die.
Mohammed right now talking about how Rachel is remembered, Tom, and what happened to you as you went in the ambulance with her to the hospital?
Yeah, that's correct. So, I mean, regrettably, by the time we got to the hospital, Rachel was dead. As I say, like on the way, I'd been sort of just steadying her hands on her abdomen. You know, of course, it was like a terrible moment. We were all distraught. We knew Rachel. We cared for her greatly. She was one of us. And then immediately, of course, we were pushed into the cycle of responding to the series of bizarre lies that were being told by the Israeli Defense Forces. And in terms of what it means to hear, Mohammed say that right now, well, of course, I'm very grateful. It means a lot, given that, of course, the situation that Mohammed and his family and all of Rafah is so terrible that he even has a thought for someone who was standing there 20 years ago is really remarkable, and speaks to sort of the power of Rachel's message. And I really hope we can sort of repay that in the international community. And use this just as an opportunity, as another spur to direct attention back to Rafah, direct our energies back toward putting the pressure on politically to protect Rafah from and Gaza in general from a future onslaught.
Yeah.
Tom, I want to bring in
absolutely.
Rachel's parents, Cindy and Craig Corrie, speaking from Olympia, Washington. That's where Rachel went to college. In fact, I think I met both of you for the first time back in 2003. I just happened to be giving the graduation address at Evergreen College that year. It was the largest graduation class ever, but it was missing one student who was supposed to be graduating, and it was your daughter, Rachel. And so, Cindy, you gave an address to the graduating class as well.
Hey, 1218, how are you doing?
Later, I offer my condolences again to you. And I'm wondering your thoughts as you listen to Mohammed on the ground in Rafah, talking about your daughter and what she has meant for the people of Rafah, Gaza, and beyond.
Thank you, Amy. I had a bit of difficulty hearing Mohammed.
She said, "Thank you, Amy." Just like we do in the chat. Everybody's always saying thank you, Amy. Anyway.
But what I know from our experience this past 21 years is that for Palestinians everywhere, Rachel's story has been very important. They tell us over and over again how much it meant.
That's right, chat.
Someone from Olympia, Washington, that had no reason to be in Gaza, except that she had learned about the situation and knew that they were greatly in need, that she came to them, and that she stood to try to prevent the demolition of the many demolitions of Palestinian homes that were happening at the time. And Rachel connected with the community. That was important to her. She worked with women's groups, with children's groups. Not only were homes threatened, but wells were threatened. She slept at the wells with other activists. Rachel was there with Tom and with others from the UK, from the US, and people from other countries during the early time that she spent in Gaza. We're also often approached by younger people who have heard the story, some when they were children that remember it, and tell us that it changed their lives, changed the course of the direction of their lives, that they then felt that there were meaningful things that they needed to look for, meaningful ways to contribute in this world.
And Craig, your thoughts as well. 21 years later, with Rafah once again in the news, with President Biden saying that An Israeli invasion of Rafah is a red line, but not saying there would be consequences if the Israeli military went over that line.
No, yeah, they don't fucking care, man. Like, Bibi literally signed it the other day. He literally fucking signed it the other day. Like, yeah, we're going to invade Rafah. Like, what do you think's going to happen, man? Do you know what I mean? Like, this is it. If shit doesn't fucking change internationally, that'll be the end of Gaza as we knew it. All that culture, all those lives, all those homes, dreams, history, everything just fucking gone. Why? Because fascism. Because fascism and wealth extraction and imperial dominance in the Middle East for said wealth extraction. It's just a sick joke. Do you know what I mean? It's sick. It's fucking depraved, honestly.
Yes, when I was listening today, I was thinking that for me, and it's different for other members of the
Political
family,
theater,
but
that's right, Maxwell. Also,
we were
hi.
using Rachel's memory and what she was doing as a portal for people to understand, from the United States, to understand what was going on in Gaza, what was happening to her friends, and partially the horror that's going on now. And I think at this point, we have to be looking directly at the Palestinians and hearing their voices as you allowed today. There's never been a red line that any American president has, well, that's not quite true, but recently enforced against Israel. And to me, as long as Israel is coveting the lands and the homes of Palestinian people, there will not be peace in Israel and Palestine.
And essentially what he's saying there, I don't know why, if he does think this, if he's holding back, because he's on Democracy Now! And I don't think he's going to get any pushback for saying it, but like, Israel just cannot exist. It just cannot exist, because that is the fucking fabric of the society of Israel. Everything is about, it's literally like Starship Troopers down there, but the Palestinians are the bugs, right? It's literally that. You know, the closest that Israeli society comes to in understanding just how fascist the IDF actually is when they hear about all the suicide attempts from ex-IDF soldiers, right? IDF soldiers who've looked at what they've done and they've gone, yeah, no, we're the baddies. And then they try and kill themselves, and they do it in like exceedingly dramatic ways. And if you think I'm being a little bit rhetorical about this, you can go and look this up. There's like hearings where sons of veterans of the IDF, and I hesitate to even call them veterans, because like, what are they veterans of? They've not been in a war. They've just like killed innocent people, like people who've served in the IDF. You know, literally, and they're there saying like, my dad is constantly talking about all the horrible things that he did, and he can't sleep at night. His life is a shambles. Blah 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 blah. All this kind of stuff. That's the closest that they come to it, and even then, they don't come to an understanding of why these people are suffering so much, because they've actually done genocides. Like, they've just like shot kids in the fucking head. For no fucking reason other than, like, you know, they've been brainwashed. And so that fucking, you know, comes back to haunt a few of them. But this is why Israel can't exist. It just cannot exist, you know?
And neither the Israeli people nor the Palestinian people will be safe. So I think really the difference between Rachel, Tom, the rest of the ISM, the difference between them and the rest of us is that they refused to look away when all this was going on. And the rest of the world did look away.
Yeah.
You know, one of the ways Rachel's words have been preserved was because of Alan Rickman. And Craig, I just read a piece you wrote after the actor and director Alan Rickman died. You wrote it in The Guardian. And you talked about what a difference he made in making those words into that play. My name is...
No fucking way. I didn't know this. Alan Rickman did a play called My Name is Rachel Corrie based on the diaries and emails of her. That's fucking wild. I had no idea he did that. I wonder if there's any theater runs of this play or any recordings of it, because I would love to fucking see that shit.
Is Rachel Corrie, based on her diaries and her emails. And I'm looking at a piece 6 weeks before opening night. The theater announced it was indefinitely postponing the production. The move that was widely criticized as an act of censorship finally opened in October 2006. And if either of you could comment on the canceling of people in this country and around the world now who express concern about what's happening in Gaza.
I didn't even realize Amy's got these, like, she's got like the little thumb holes in a hoodie. She's so fucking based, man, honestly. Yeah, she's right though. People are being fucking cancelled. This is the actual cancel culture that we're seeing right now. Anyone who expresses an opinion about Israel and how they shouldn't be allowed to just do wholesale genocide with the support of the USA, the support of the imperial powers, they just get cancelled. Literally.
And also talk about
cancelled.
your trip to meet with the Nasrallahs, the Palestinian pharmacist family, whose home Rachel was protecting.
That's a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
I'll start with Alan and the play. And I guess in that article, what I thought of is that play, what people won't understand about it is that it's actually funny. He managed to get Rachel's sense of humor, and he edited those words along with Catherine Viner, and we're grateful to both of them. But he managed to get Rachel's humor into the play, and I think that brought her personality. It made her human, and I'm grateful forever for that. The play has been seen on every continent in the United States, in the world, and except Antarctica. And Cindy and I have seen that, I think, in maybe 6 countries and 7 different languages.
Holy shit.
So
holy shit.
It was delayed in opening in the United States, but it had 2 runs in Great Britain, in London, before that. And it did eventually open in New York City. And since then has been also all over the United States. And it's actually, there's going to be a reading in a few days in Seattle again. So I'll let Cindy talk, I think, more about the other.
We visited the Nasrallah family in September of 2003. It was our first trip to the region. It was very important for Craig and me to see the place where Rachel had stayed and where her life ended. We traveled to Rafah with the help of our Palestinian friends who met us at Erez Crossing. And we were taken the very first day that we were there. We were taken to the area where the Nasrallah home still stood. And it was the only home left in that entire area. What I remember saying and feeling at the time was that house was sitting in a sea of rubble because the Israeli military was destroying homes wholesale. Later, Human Rights Watch said that happened in the absence of military necessity. And over 16,000 people, I think from 2000 to 2004, lost their homes at the time.
There's just so much emotion in that fucking image, chat. There's just so much fucking emotion in that. You know, to know that your daughter died to protect this family's house and it's still there, and to go and meet that family and have them like express that gratitude and also mourning that loss in the same way, in a very similar way to how you're mourning it. That's touched me in a way I didn't think possible, chat. That's huge.
We sat on the floor in the Nasrallah family's home. and ate a wonderful lunch meal with Karim, with Abu Karim, and with
like things like that, things like what Rachel did are so immensely meaningful, right? Immensely meaningful. It does it. If this poor family's home did get demolished in the end, it doesn't matter, because what Rachel did was so meaningful, actually, in resistance. That goes beyond anything that any fascist could ever do to try and destroy the memory of her name or anything like that. It doesn't matter. That thing's happened. That thing has happened, and that memory has happened, right? And just deeply, deeply, deeply human, right?
They're very young children at the time. We were taken to the spot by Abu Karim, showing us exactly where Rachel had been when she was killed. It was a very emotional day. We hugged. We saw the rooms in the house where Rachel had spent time with the children and the family. They pulled off their Arabic English dictionary from the shelf and had me try to pronounce the words in Arabic, and they told me how Rachel was so much better at it than I was. And we saw also the space at the foot of the Nasrallah parents' bed, which was at the backside of the house, where Rachel would sleep, she said, in a puddle of blankets with the children, because military people and machines would drive through that border area at night, and they would shoot into the houses. And there were bullet holes marking the entire home.
We just have 30 seconds, and I just wanted to get your final comment, either Cindy or Craig, on what is happening today.
Amy, that family did everything they could to hold on to that house. They were eventually forced out of that house, and some of them went through 7 other houses. Now we hear that they want out of Gaza after 21 years of trying to hold on to their homes and their lives and their futures and their past in Gaza. Like so many people, they want to survive and they want out. I can't imagine what drives them to do that. But that's the situation in Gaza.
I want to thank you both for being with us again, Craig and Cindy Corrie, speaking to us from Olympia, Washington. And Tom Dale will link to your piece in Jacobin. Rachel Corrie gave her life for Palestine, joining us from London.
Yeah, that was beautiful, that chat. That was beautiful. Rest in peace, Rachel. One absolute legend. Holy shit. 21 years ago. 21 fucking years ago. Where are we up to? So I said to everyone I'm gonna do a normal sized stream today. So unfortunately that does mean that it is the end of the stream. But don't worry about it, chat, because I'll be back tomorrow. And that'll be really, really good, because I'm back. I'm back, baby. I'm feeling so much better. I'm feeling so much gooder in my life and all that kind of shit. So please don't forget, I exist outside of Twitch, and you can find all my links there at the socials command. Let me just read these last final chat messages. Our government is a joke. Yeah. Peak humans being bros. People like Rachel Corrie, Tom Herndal, Aaron Bushnell, all blessed souls. They will always be remembered. Yep. Absolutely. World hasn't changed much in 20 years. Got more cruel and broken. It's gotten good in a lot of ways as well. I definitely believe that. I think a lot more people are aware of what's going on, and they're doing a lot to be politicized and educated about it, and that's good at the very least, especially in the imperial core where we live in. But yeah, no, I understand entirely. I understand entirely what you mean. Listen, on Twitch, over here on Twitch, we're gonna go and raid someone. We're gonna go and raid another streamer. YouTube, I don't know. Go check out some more of my content. Go to the VOD channel. Check out my link tree. The VOD channel link is on the link tree. If you're watching this on the VOD channel, by the way, please like, comment, subscribe, and share the stream. It really, really helps. As so does yeah, giving me money and all that kind of stuff. It helps a lot. So, who are we going to go and raid? Well, we're going to go and raid Benny.gay. She very often gives me a little raid, and it's very, very much appreciated. So let's go and show some love to Benny. She's playing a game. She's doing gaming. I don't know what the gaming is, but I'll find out if I can. It looks like some kind of real-time strategy, maybe Lord of the Rings. Oh, it's Lord of the Rings. She's playing Battle for Middle-earth. Oh, that fucking rocks. Okay, everyone. Yeah, you gotta fucking come with me and check out Benny now. You just absolutely have to do it. Right. Okay, chat. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here in the chat today. Thank you so much for all the donos. Thank you for the subs. Thank you for the follows. If you've not followed already, make sure you follow the stream. You can stay on top of when I'm live and shit like that. Join the Discord if you fancy as well. It's there in the YouTube and in the Twitch chat as well. But yeah, more than anything, thanks for being in the chat. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for lurking, if you've been lurking. And I will see you in the next one. Stay excellent to each other. Peace. Mwah. Good night, good night, good night.